angsty, but we're married, and oh no, I'm mad. You betrayed me. You is very laconic, dude. I was like, nope. Deal with it, dude. Just get your shit cut off and have a nice night.
We're on YouTube now.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Hey,
I just saw that now too.
Let's be fair. The
Finally,
prequels
it's
is still
working
good.
now. It only took the dark side of negativity for Revenge of the Sith to get this working.
Look,
You're welcome.
I'm gonna defend Juwan real quick.
Oh,
okay.
You applauded me a second ago. Come on.
Hey, no, I'm with you. 1, 2, and 3 are just total garbage. I'm with you on that.
Yes.
But Clone Wars is what made Anakin one of the best characters in Star Wars history. I love Clone Wars prequels and all of that. So
you're talking animated.
I don't want to hear any slander with Anakin.
You're talking about the animated stuff.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Hayden. I'm talking about the Hayden Christensen, the actual movies. And it's not in having worked with Hayden Christensen in photo ops before, he is a magnificent human being. He really is. He's one of the nicest guys in the world. He was directed horribly in those movies. It's not his fault.
Well, you can go on to watch his other work and you can tell.
George Lucas isn't a director. George Lucas isn't a good director
no.
I can't.
His main focus is story.
I can't give any of that. Revenge of the Sith to me was easily the best out of the three for sure. Were they all three of them strong?
Of course.
Movies? No, not at all.
But that's not a tough bar to set, though.
True. I'm
not comparing it to other movies. I'm only comparing it to the 3 movies George Lucas has ever done.
I will 100% agree with you. Like, one of the best scenes in the entire Star Wars franchise was the opening scene in Revenge of the Sith, where they did the shot down on Coruscant and just saw, like, oh, look at the planet, and they like swooped in, and then it's like battle, like all right in the atmosphere. And that was one of the coolest like opening scenes to any movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's probably not even like in my top 5 of my favorite scenes just from that movie. Like the end battle in Mustafar was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful.
It was.
Oh yes,
yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
the dialogue up to that was beautiful. The scene of Mace Windu trying to apprehend
Palpatine.
And Anakin runs in and he's just like, no, I need him. Like, I thought you were just arresting him. Like, you're about to kill him. No. We didn't talk about that. George did a great job of evolution of character. I love Anakin as a kid. I loved Anakin as a kid. Ultimately, if you take out Anakin from Attack of the Clones and you just go from Kid Anakin to Revenge of the Sith, it's a really good arc.
Yes.
And I said that. I said Attack of the Clones was just, it was very whiny. I get it. It was.
I don't think it's a good arc. I did not. One of the biggest disappointments. I mean, we can go into all kinds of different things about the prequels, but I was so disappointed with the expectations that I went in of what must have happened to make Darth Vader who he was. And I did not get sold on it at all. There was just not enough for me to go, oh, yeah, he totally went to the
I think it comes down to the directing of it. I mean, I think it, like I said, it was just very plain acting.
It wasn't executed. It wasn't executed.
See, I don't know. I don't know, because to me, even from a little boy, there was a sense of anger always with Anakin, and it was one of those dormant things to where it's like, you never really saw it because he never really had a need for it. But you see from Attack of the Clones into Revenge of the Sith, it's building. You see the disrespect he gets from the Council. You see the disrespect he gets from everybody else. You see the idea of he wants to be with this woman, but they can't publicly be with each other. And I think what makes George Lucas's 3 movies so beautiful is Phantom Menace. The idea of Duel of Fates, that song.
Yes.
The whole purpose of the song is in that moment, those three force wielders between Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon, they control the fate of Anakin. If Qui-Gon lives, Anakin does not become Vader because he has the father that he's always been looking for. But it's in that moment that fate is ultimately given to Anakin when Qui-Gon dies. So you see the evolution of Anakin just looking for the father figure that Obi-Wan could never be, that Yoda was not interested in being. Mace Windu at numerous times was like, I'll put a pillow over this kid's face. Like, it was just that.
But at the end of the day, everyone's got dead parents. All right. I mean, like, get over it.
Hold on.
I'm just saying. All right. Quit being pouty pants. And I'm talking about through the arc of the first three movies. You know, everyone's got dead people. All right. Get over it. All right, you got to move on.
I understand what Juwan is saying.
Yeah.
The meaning of all those things in the prequels is great and all, but like I said earlier, it's the execution of those meanings that
right.
I mean, my argument against it isn't that these are the best movies made or the best acted movies made, but
you said best Star Wars movie.
But if it was directed by someone differently, it would have been done
100%.
better.
And I give it to that because to me, a Star Wars means different things to different people. So when I say what I'm about to say, I don't want to offend anyone. But a Star Wars movie with no lightsabers is not a Star Wars movie. It's nothing George Lucas has ever. It's why when people come to me with Rogue One and they're like, "Well, there's lightsabers at the end." Well, it's Vader ripping through people with blasters.
Which was badass.
Yeah, it was.
I remember sitting there in the theater and going, Jedi right there. Even if it's like a really weak Jedi, I would have really sold that point. But anytime you do like a Jedi versus droids, it's like, well, yeah, of course it's gonna go to the Jedi.
So you didn't like the Luke scene in Mandalorian?
No, it was badass for sure. It was really badass. But again, to me,
it was a lot longer than the Vader scene in Rogue One, though, too.
Right. Also, absolutely. But also, it's one of those things where it's like anyone who read any of the books knows that's exactly how powerful Luke was. So it wasn't a shock to see. Like, to me, I thought he took longer than he needed to. I thought he was a little bit showing off. To me, Star Wars has to have the romance, it has to have the story, it has to have the anger, and it has to have lightsabers. That's to me what constitutes a great Star Wars movie. So why I picked Revenge of the Sith is it had those elements of Shakespeare, to where it's like the forbidden love. It's the guy turned evil. It's the brother versus brother. And again, if you don't think the story was of Shakespeare, not a problem. It's why I think Dave Filoni is possibly the single greatest thing that happened to Star Wars, because his animation filled in all the blanks between Clone Wars to Revenge of the Sith. So it gave a lot more meaning to the movies, but I love Revenge of the Sith. I thought everyone did a great job. I take no Hayden Christensen slander. Love him to death. He's probably my favorite person ever. But I'm going to pass this along. I'm going to go to you, Joe. What Star Wars movie are you putting up as the best?
I mean, I wore the shirt for a reason. Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that comes even close. It really is just it is one of my favorite movies of all time, not just Star Wars. I have a few other movies I do like, but Empire Strikes Back to me, I mean, has the ultimate, what's the ultimate twist. Nobody saw that coming. I mean, I was young. I mean, I obviously didn't see that coming, but just to me, it was just it was the perfect written film, you know, and again, not directed by Lucas. No offense to Lucas at all. Look, Lucas is the one that created this universe. He is the maker, but anything that he directed himself just wasn't good. It really wasn't. And you can argue A New Hope is great for what it was, because it was the catalyst. It started everything. But even that, like growing up, I loved Return of the Jedi, believe it or not. Return of the Jedi when I was younger was my favorite film. It had the hero one. You had Vader's redemption. Still my favorite scene of all the films is Vader's redemption. Up until Lucas fucked around with it and put the
nerd. Yes.
And that's the other thing that I fault Lucas for. Like, and what you had said is what do you call it? When you had said that he basically threw up CGI, and it's so true.
Yeah.
Because he not only fucked the prequels, but then he went and said, you know what? what can I do to mess with the original films even more?
Absolutely unnecessary.
To the point where I don't even watch them anymore because some of the scenes I don't like.
Where
Like I get
Same way.
every time it's like
I
anger.
get adding the special effects to the Death Star explosion. Beautiful.
Mhm.
The Cloud City scenes that he enhanced. Beautiful. Some of the redness of the moons, whatever he did visually, it's beautiful. But you're gonna put McClunky in a scene versus Greedo with Han Solo, but you can't sharpen the lightsabers in the original New Hope where they still shimmer white.
Yep.
Like, I don't get it. So to me, Empire, look, I know I viewed off for a little bit. Empire Strikes Back still going to be my favorite. There's just hands down. I love, obviously, the twist we got with Vader being the father. But I do want to make a comment really quick about Liam Neeson's character in Qui-Gon. I know a lot of people speculate that had his character survived, Anakin might not have went and turned, but I don't know if that would have been enough where the Emperor wouldn't have been able to still persuade him.
I got a response to that.
And the only reason why I say that is because Anakin became Darth Vader, right? Before A New Hope, but we were introduced to the character as Darth Vader.
Right.
We were told, watching the original trilogy, that Obi-Wan was the one that trained and failed.
Right.
Vader.
Right.
Qui-Gon was never a character at that moment. So Qui-Gon was written after the fact. He became Vader regardless.
Right. But
Mhm.
when George retconned that with putting in Qui-Gon, the reason why Qui-Gon would have been the same way, I don't disagree when someone says if Ahsoka was there, it would have been something that would have maybe pulled him out of it. Here's the thing we keep forgetting about the newer age Anakin, not Vader, Anakin. Because no matter what Palpatine named him in that moment, again, and it speaks to when you watch Revenge of the Sith, the end where Obi-Wan and Padme land on Mustafar.
Yeah.
In that moment, it shows you the difference between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan is your brother, right?
Right.
Is his brother. So when you have a brother, they kind of tell you more like how it is rather than how you need to hear it, right? Qui-Gon would have been able to get through to Anakin as a father rather than, because remember, this is the same Obi-Wan and KJ and Patches. I really hope I'm not spoiling anything.
Spoil away.
You're fine.
But when Obi-Wan lost Duchess Satine.
Yeah, we're there.
But in that moment, what was his split decision he made mentally of I can't react the way that I want to? Why? Because he's trained that way.
Totally agree.
Remember Qui-Gon, that's not how Qui-Gon trained Obi-Wan at all. Qui-Gon always told Obi-Wan and the council how they rule against love is wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong to tell people you can care for them, but you can't really love them in the way that you react emotionally. So Qui-Gon very much, if Anakin would have came to him and said, hey, I'm having visions that Padme dies. I want to save her. I'm hearing from Palpatine that, there's ways to save her, but from the dark side. Qui-Gon immediately would have said, no, you no, you can't save anybody from no, you can't do that. And if you can, it's not worth what it'll do to you. So Qui-Gon, just because he would have loved Anakin, he would have been able to reach him in a way that Obi-Wan he wasn't capable of. And that's not a knock to Obi-Wan. It's just he was raised by the council, and in the council, the love thing, nah, man, we don't do that. We do not do that.
Right.
You love who? No.
But that's the Padme side.
I think he would have gotten through.
That's the Padme side of it. What really started was the catalyst with his mother. And the fact that, and the mother was tortured on purpose to get that anger out of him.
Yep.
That's what started it. I don't know if Qui-Gon being there would have stopped not only his pain for losing his mother, but at the same time, his lust for the power to save the ones that he loved, whether it was without Padme or not.
I won't say, I'll step back a little bit because as Obi-Wan says, only Sith deal in absolutes.
Absolutes, yes.
So I won't say definitively Qui-Gon would have backed him from the ledge, but think about in the moment where Anakin wanted to tell someone what happened to his mom. Do you think Obi-Wan's response would have been, yo, let's go handle these dudes? Or like, yo, you're like, it's okay. Like, no, he very much would have been like, it happens. You got to just move on. And in that moment, Anakin's not built that way. Remember, he was not raised from birth in the council. He's not built that way. He's very emotional. So he would have needed someone like Qui-Gon that would have consoled him in that moment to at least calm him down enough. Like when he told Padme, like, nah, it was men, women, and kids. Like, no, Qui-Gon would have backed him a little bit off that ledge to maybe just taking out the one person responsible for his mom's death. So I think maybe I'm with you, maybe not fully, but as quickly as he turned, it would have been a lot more of a struggle. It would have been something he would have fought more if Qui-Gon were still alive. KJ Patches, I go to you two. What's up there for your favorite Star Wars movie?
Well, I mean, I go right there with Joe with the Empire Strikes Back, because I agree. I think it had, just like you were talking about, Juwan, all the elements of Star Wars that you expect. But part of it is sentimental on my part. It was the first movie that I saw in theaters. So I actually saw The Empire Strikes Back before I saw New Hope. And then I remember, like, you know, it was many years before I like saw it as an adult, and I was nervous about will it be as special to me as an adult as it was to me as a kid. And it held up just as well as an adult as it did the young girl in the theater for the first time, and what Princess Leia meant, and watching the story develop between her and Han and the action. It was just, when I think of the Star Wars story, that is immediately where I go. When I think of this question, Joanne, I think of it in absolutes of, if I could only have one Star Wars movie for the rest of my life, what would it be? It would be The Empire Strikes Back. I love them all for different reasons, but if you told me I only get to keep one, that's the one for me.
Fair, very fair.
And I am very much in agreement. Joe, to your point earlier, and Michelle in the comments earlier said that Return of the Jedi was her favorite Star Wars movie, and it was as well for me growing up as a child. That's the one I think, as far as like actual watch time, is the one I've watched the most.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Empire is still mine. Now, I never thought I would say it, but like my top three is Empire, New Hope, and then Rogue One. And just because of a lot of the points that she touched on, but you know, like her and I seeing the movies in the theater when they came out, that was the first like non-comic book superhero that anything mainstream media was introduced to, you know, aside from, you know, the old NBC Star Trek, you know, like, you know, James T. Kirk and everything. But like, as far as on the scale that what that was, A New Hope and Empire, like that was it. You know, like Princess Leia was the first female superhero. You know what I mean? And like that, you know, aside from Julie Newmar as Catwoman, that was my other first crush in my life. And then, you know, who didn't want to be Han Solo at my age as well? So just following that, and then seeing the progression. Then you have Jedi, and then the other ones, and then, you know, like rebooting. In between, you have Rogue One, and then the other movie. Then like you've got such, you know, like it's a franchise that has like spanned literally our entire lifetime.
Is there, Juwan, outside of because I love Rogue One, it's up there for me. Outside of the fact that you didn't get the lightsabers, is there another issue you have with that? Because that movie was solid. I mean,
I don't have any issues. I don't have any issues with it. To me, it's like
just the glow sticks.
Right.
Glow sticks.
It's honestly, no, it's the same argument I always have about whenever I talk to Dark Knight Trilogy. I always say they're phenomenal movies. They're just, if you know anything about Batman, they're not the greatest Batman movies. So it's the same thing here. There's not one issue with Rogue One outside of, I told Ash, anyone who ever played the Star Killer games, naming him Malik or Galen Malik.
Galen.
Galen Malik. And then calling him the Star Killer. When I first heard that they were making a movie and that was the character's name, I was just like, oh my God, wait, are they doing Star Killer, like from Force Unleashed? And I remember sitting there watching the trailer and I was just like, I don't think they are. I don't think they'll wield like a light.
That's not how I remember it.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm very confused. And I remember saying it and everyone was just looking at me like, we have no idea what you're talking about. And then it dawned on me, Force Unleashed wasn't canon at that point. So it was just like, technically doesn't exist. So they can give this guy the name. And people
Such a good game too. I love that game.
Phenomenal game.
Really
I love Sam Witwer. Sam Witwer is legit an OG of voice acting. He voiced he was the voice for Darth Maul in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And a lot of people don't know this, God rest his soul, when the actor who voiced Sidious in Clone Wars passed away.
Okay.
Sam Witwer stepped in and voiced Palpatine for the remainder of the
really?
series. Yes, he did. Yep. And I'll tell you this, if you didn't notice it, it lends to how good of a job he did. So
now,
Sam
really
Witwer is that guy.
My only issue with Rogue One was that I didn't care about any of the characters. I thought the movie was solid. The only attachment I had to that film was K2SO.
Yes.
When K2SO gets destroyed, I almost shed a tear. When the other two were on the beach and got exploded, I was all right, we're good.
I think though, obviously I didn't direct it or write it, so I don't want to speak for them, but I think that was kind of the point. I think the point was we were supposed to care about the mission.
Yeah, you're supposed to care about the story first.
The mission of what they were supposed to be doing.
Well, I think the brilliance of Rogue One was the story was so good, and yes, K2SO was obviously the highlight of the movie. But like when you go into the movie, you knew what was going to happen, right? Everyone's going to die, right? You're going to go GOT on this, right? Everyone's going to die. Just expect it. And then, like about 2/3 of the way through, you're like, they wrote it so well. You're like, oh my God, they may pull it off. And then and then you're like, crap. Yeah, they are going to die, aren't they? And then the redemption of Leia being in there is like, and we saw it right after Carrie had passed. So, we're like, I was bawling like a child. I mean, when
they're going right there.
Yep, they're not even messing around.
Right
it's like,
there.
There's Carrie Fisher. Have a nice night. In credits.
Yeah, there were just so many moments of it that were just awesome. Like when the guy's telling Organa, maybe it's a good time to call your friend, and it's you knew who
can she be? Yeah, can she be trusted? Yeah.
Right. I do want to clear this up. There are some people out there that think he was referring to Luke. In the timeline, he's speaking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think because a lot of people are confused on where that movie takes place, they think they're talking about Luke. It's not. They're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
Because remember, Organa had a relationship with Obi-Wan. Technically, he was not supposed to really know much about Luke or come in contact with Luke.
Well, and all paths in the dialogue led to Obi-Wan, and then right there at the end when you saw the ship that leads into A New Hope, it was like, oh shit, there's Leia.
Right. Yep. So I mean, they did a really good job, and like I said, I don't know if they were supposed to sell you on the characters as much as they were supposed to sell you on. It was ultimately like a Suicide Squad.
Yes.
You're supposed to really care about the mission.
A legit Suicide Squad.
Right. Yeah. That's my point. You care about the mission because it's a good chance you won't see these characters come back. They might die here. So I think that might have been what it was. But they all gave great performances.
Yeah. No.
They did.
They did.
They definitely did. Yeah.
Shout out.
And we actually have, we've talked about this on our show, Joanne, because we have, if producer Jana is watching, this is her first Star Wars day ever knowing what Star Wars is. She never watched it before until this year. And it was interesting as she was watching them, she was devastated by Rogue One, but she watched them in order, where I wonder if because we knew going into Rogue One that what was coming, it's like I'm not getting attached to any of these people. Like, I know what's coming, right?
Yeah, no,
I appreciate
sure.
what you're doing, but I know where this is going. Where she was like, she literally texted me and was like, "What the hell did you just make me watch?" Like,
No,
That and being pissed off about Anakin's hair.
but she was very, yeah. But yeah, but so I wonder if there was some of that, Joe, of those of us going into it as fans, knowing where this was taking us, if it was just kind of designed like we're not going to care about these people too much because we know that this is all we're getting of them.
Until the Cassian Andor series.
Right.
Right. But it was the best one-off. I think it was one of the best one-off movies of all time.
Yeah. No, it was a great standalone film. It was
Yes.
easily. Yeah.
Wait. You're speaking for Star Wars or like
Rogue One.
No.
Yeah,
for me,
of
for
all
Star
time.
Wars.
Well, no, I'm gonna say like of all time. Like as far as like if you're gonna like just sprinkle something in,
Like a one-off in a
one-off
universe.
within any universe.
Okay.
Yes,
That's what I
of
was-
any universe, like doesn't matter what it is. I really think that like Rogue One is probably the best that in memory that I can think of.
Okay. All right.
Well, didn't you guys all want to just like we rushed home? It was like we got to go watch A New Hope.
That's ultimately me and Ash. They did our Revenge of the Sith watch. We kind of went right to Revenge of the Sith. We had to get some Revenge of the Sith in there,
Sure.
Trayvon, you definitely have to change that background. Wrong podcast for that, Trayvon. No, but I'm gonna go to you, Ash. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Revenge of the Sith. And I know I got you. Revenge of the Sith for me. I love it because we get to see Anakin's demise. And Anakin for me is such a tragic character, from being in slavery as a child all the way to the end of his demise. He never leaves it until he actually dies. And I love the fact, yes, he's whining in that second movie and Wall of the Case and all of that, but at the end of the day, he is someone that has not had that figure in his life to help him get there. And that's not an excuse. Like he still murdered all of those younglings, and he still went and he still murdered all of those men and women because of his mother. So I'm not excusing that. However, it's easy to see, and I think despite like George Lucas not doing that great of a job with the directing, and the acting wasn't all of that, like they worked with what they got. But if you will strip away those and you think about the movie itself and like what the storyline is adding to Star Wars, for me, it helped make Vader even more tragic, and knowing where he came from, what he wanted to do. Like at the core of it, he wanted to save his wife. He wanted to hold on to this one thing that he has never had in his life, and he loses it, right? He loses all of that trust, all of that faith that a lot of people had in him. And he only really had about 3 people in the entire universe who still believed in him. You had Padme before she died, you had Ahsoka, and then you had Luke as well. So for me, I love Revenge of the Sith because we get to see him falling apart, and you don't want him to, but that's the way that he's going to go. I love that we have Palpatine working in the background to go there. I love the fact that we do question the Jedi in that movie. Like we have to question Mace Windu. Like yes, it's not a perfect movie, but for what it adds to Star Wars and how it adds to the prequels, you can't tell me anything really that bad about Revenge of the Sith that I ain't already know, that I haven't made peace with. So that's where I'm at. I'm also going to put Rogue One up there. I'm a big Rogue One fan. It took me like 2 years after I first watched it to watch it because the ending was that painful for me that everyone died. And Return of the Jedi was actually my favorite for a really long time before Revenge of the Sith took over. So
yeah, and to speak on that, Anakin was always, Jedi are trained not to act out of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
The only way Anakin knew how to react to anything, and it's
emotion.
Why it makes the beginning of Revenge of the Sith so important. Where we obviously see, first of all, that was the one thing I was just like, George, really? That's how you take out Obi-Wan Kenobi? Really? That's how you take out Obi-Wan? George, come on, try a little harder. But I love that scene because when you see Obi-Wan obviously knocked out and you see Palpatine go, "Oh, good job, Anakin. Now kill him."
Yeah.
Anakin, remember, what's the first thing he says? No, I shouldn't do that. And
It's not the Jedi way.
Right. And then Palpatine kind of leans in and he's like, "Are you sure though?" And Anakin's like, "He did take my hand." Like,
Anakin, you then took both of his hands. So you're a little bit even.
yeah, it's like, maybe I'll kill him. Maybe I will. But it speaks to in that moment how susceptible Anakin is. And it's kind of the parallel of really any kid or teenager. It's like they're very susceptible. Anyone can kind of just come in and go, "Hey, you like this dark side thing?" And it's like, maybe. Because it's like they're still figuring things out. And that's very much what Anakin was. Think about this. He was brought in at like 10 years old. And the first thing Qui-Gon says is like, "You're the chosen one." And it's like, I don't know what that means. So like it immediately strips away you being able to be a child and grow up, the regular way. You're now being rushed into the idea of like, you're the chosen one, man. Like we'll all die if like you don't live up to this. So it was a lot of pressure, and obviously Anakin was not prepared for it. It's why I love the poetry of, it's the same thing with Neo. At the end of the day, they weren't the chosen one, but they gave life to who we assume then was the chosen one, a la Luke. So I'm like, to me, I like it. I like the poetry of he became the one thing he had swore to destroy in the Sith. So to me, loved it. Put it up there very, very, very high. Love it.
I will say this, out of anything that the prequels did give me, because remember I did say that growing up, Return of the Jedi, as a kid, Return of the Jedi was my favorite. And that was because we got the hero's ending. Luke, Vader, he got the redemption. We got the cool scenes with Luke, especially on Tatooine over the pit where he does the flip and he catches the lightsaber that R2 launches. One of my favorite scenes then. But what the prequels did do for me was turn me to the dark side, and it gave me the love for the dark and actually gave me the sympathy I needed. And Vader became the sympathetic character, and Anakin became the sympathetic character to me. And it was that arc, especially Revenge of the Sith, that led me to love the character so much. And that is why I chose Empire Strikes Back. Yeah. Going back and watching those films from that perspective, watching Return of the Jedi and seeing that redemption, not only gave me goosebumps as I got older, but I would actually literally cry knowing what he dealt with, not only as a child, but growing up, the loss of his mother. I lost my mother too. So there was a lot of things that were incorporated with that and with that choice. And I do give the prequels that credit. I will, especially Revenge of the Sith.
Yep. And AJ, I'm going to pass it to you. And I want to say this, AJ, because I feel like me and you have always said this. One thing people don't ever know about, because I was telling Joe, me and Joe were texting each other, Anakin and Vader to me are not the same person.
Right.
Clearly they are.
They're not.
But Anakin
They're
is
not.
one person, Vader is another.
Yeah.
It's why it's so important when Luke takes off the helmet, you see Anakin, and it's you seeing Luke connecting with his father, not this thing his father has become.
Right.
But AJ, I wanted to pose this to you before you give us your favorite Star Wars movie. A lot of people don't know that as strong as Vader was, Anakin, if he had not lost all his limbs and died there in Mustafar, Anakin would have been the strongest Force user in the entirety of the no, I'm not saying of all of Star Wars. Relax. I know that's where you thought I was going.
And that's not what I was thinking.
Okay. Anakin was where he was heading power-wise, because remember, the only thing that lost him that fight with Obi-Wan was overconfidence. It wasn't sheer ability, it wasn't pure strength, because Anakin had him beaten every facet of that. Yeah. But if Anakin had not died in that moment, he would have gone on to be the strongest Force user probably ever. That's the way George was writing him. Probably ever. But people forget, though, Vader was working at 80% capacity. Like, people always forget that. Vader was never at 100%.
Okay, so I do disagree with that for one thing. I do think that Anakin, if they're different characters, if Anakin had fought Vader, I think Anakin would have been like a better like overall battle combatant. Like he will fight better. He's more fluid and all of that. But with Vader, he's much more restrictive. And we get a lot of that in the comics. He's much more restricted to battling and all of that. But the one thing I do disagree with is Vader is still the strongest Force user. In the comics is because the pain within the suit, and he focuses all his hatred within that pain, and it just makes him stronger Force-wise. That's why I still believe that Vader is still technically the strongest Force user.
I don't disagree. I was only saying if Anakin had not, like, if we had actually seen Anakin, like,
so if Anakin was Vader, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. So, like I said earlier, Vader with the suit, that's why he didn't want to change the suit, is because it gave him that reminder of what happened and all of that pain within him.
100%.
And it rose that Force ability even higher than if Anakin.
If he knew what Palpatine knew about that suit, he would have wanted to change out of that suit. That's indestructible to everything but Force lightning. And that was for a reason. That was so Palpatine had a way to keep him in control.
Mm-hmm.
So he made sure that it was a living conductor.
That is the one weakness that he had. Yeah.
Palpatine was just like, oh, you almost done? No. Before you got done, make sure Force lightning still works on this guy.
See, if Anakin was still whole, and he threw Palpatine down the Death Star, he would have survived that lightning. I feel like he would have still survived that lightning.
Oh, you think Vader would have survived?
No. Anakin. If Anakin.
Oh, gotcha.
If he was whole, yeah.
All right. So, what are you going with for your favorite Star Wars movie?
Empire Strikes Back. I'm one of those people that I'm the one that personally grew up with the prequels. I would say a little bit later, since Phantom Menace came out in 2000, right?
Yeah,
99.
No, 99.
99. Yeah, so I was born in 96, so I was a little late to Star Wars, but I grew up with family that love watching movies all the time, so that was a good thing for me, especially old movies. And then,
no offense, I'm just so old. That's why I did that. It's my
bad. but yeah, there's a lot of great moments in Empire Strikes Back for me, and the overall story. Just focusing on Empire, I feel like it's probably like one of the best stories out there. For me personally, it's top 5 best movies, best movie of all time for me. There's a lot of movies I watch, but like Joseph said, the I am your father scene is probably one of the best scenes in Star Wars history. And then there's just so much, and then you have the score. And the battle against Luke and Vader it's a little dated. I will admit it is a little dated, but the meaning behind that fight is, I feel like it's probably one of the most powerful fights in Star Wars, along with like Ahsoka versus Maul, Ahsoka versus Anakin. I think it's up there with those type of battles as well.
Well, it says very blue collar. Like Luke didn't completely understand. He didn't know how to wield lightsaber.
Yeah.
He was fighting at the time a quote unquote Jedi master at that point. And I mean, he was just blue collaring the best he could.
I mean, it also spoke to the difference between the two.
Yes.
It spoke to how Luke was able to reserve himself in those moments and not fully react out of anger, not fully react out of fear. He was able to compose himself, and that was his biggest advantage over Vader, who ultimately did kind of let his emotions kind of take over in him, and it's ultimately what lost him his life. But it just spoke to how drastically different the two of them were, and it showed you why Luke was the chosen one, until the Last Jedi. But anyway,
as dated as the fight was, though, in Empire Strikes Back, but the one in Cloud City, when Luke ultimately loses his hand, that fight scene is incredible. And the reason why I love that scene the most was because not only does Vader not only do they have the lightsabers, but Vader uses the objects around him and flings them at Luke. I love that.
It was very well choreographed. It was very
100%. But it's why we've always said we need a Vader movie. Like I'm not one of those people that believes in we should be done with this.
Getting ahead of ourselves. I thought we were talking about what we want to see.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Got you. All right. So, Trayvon, I'm gonna go with you. What's your favorite Star Wars movie? Oh no, we can't hear you.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I'm not used to this mic yet. So my favorite. Okay, don't tell me. It's a Force Awakens, because that was my kind of like when that movie was coming out. That was my let me get into this now, because I wasn't I don't know as much knowledge as you guys do. This is very fascinating to hear all this. It's really making me excited to get into it. Like I said, I said in another pod, I've watched Rebels. I've seen 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9. I've not seen 1, 2, 3. So this is really making me interested to go back to see those. I just the aspect of this world, this just I don't know, it's just so vast, and so I just really like Star Wars. I just like of course I like the Jedi. Like it's kind of like almost like superheroes, it's powers and stuff like that. Of course, that's what drew me in a little bit, of course, first. But I do like the team of Rey, Finn, Poe. And I did like Kylo Ren a lot. I liked his anger issues. I liked of course he had like daddy issues, kind of. It was pretty much what I got from him at the beginning. I don't know.
Grandpa issues, honestly.
But yeah.
I think Kylo Ren was like a better version of Anakin in the prequels. I think they did them a lot better.
I think there's a lot of parallels between the two. I think you very much can look at The Last Jedi and go, that is probably the whiniest Kylo Ren was out of the whole entire arc of Kylo, quite like Anakin in Attack of the Clones.
I mean, especially the scene in the end when he was screaming more, when he was telling to shoot Luke.
I mean, even Joe, even when he had the hissy fit where he's breaking his mask,
in the elevator
against the wall, like, oh, not fair, like you made me go to my room. Like he's very whiny in The Last Jedi. So to me, I see it as when you look at what J.J. Abrams, and it's a very good pick, Trayvon. It brought the feeling of Star Wars back, because you did not have an influx of people that watched the cartoons that existed between when Revenge of the Sith ended and then when Force Awakens came. So for a lot of people, Star Wars is only movies. So it brought the feeling back. It's why it did a crap ton of money. Yeah. Because that's how big the name of Star Wars is. But clearly J.J. Abrams was drawing parallels to the movies that came before, especially with his characters. Like you can't, and I'm not saying they're the same one, but you can't look at Poe and go, clearly he was trying to make a more modern Han Solo. So to me, it's like he was making parallels, Kylo to Anakin, because that's what he wanted to be. I always wondered, and Joe, I'm going to ask you this. I always wondered, did anybody ever tell Kylo that Vader died a hero?
I always wondered. I asked that almost all the time, and it bothered me. It bothered me that was never brought up.
Yeah, really I don't think, because the way he reacted was if he had only known his grandfather to be this murderous warlord. I mean,
I'm going to finish what you started. I'll finish what you started. Like what? Well, what about what he ended?
Yeah, and that's why I see, and we're gonna move on to show, but that's why I never liked that we didn't get a moment of an Hayden Christensen Anakin Force Ghost that had a moment with Kylo. You could have even had it to where Kylo didn't believe it. He thought it was someone messing with him. Of course. But a moment where he could have let him know, I didn't die the way you as the person you thought I was. Like I died the guy that very much used to be the Jedi. So to me, it was just one of those more frustrating things to where it's just like, when you say things like, I'll finish what you started, but I don't think
the only,
like he did finish it.
I know. And I think the only explanation, and I hate to say it because I think the movie in itself was just so flawed, but the only explanation you can think is just the fact that knowing after we've seen the rise of Skywalker and knowing that the Emperor manipulated him even through Vader's voice, he just assumed that who he was talking to was Vader and it wasn't. So
Right.
that's why he probably never knew the truth behind it. And it just sucks because I would have also loved the scene between him and Anakin's Force Ghost.
Yep.
The fact that we never seen that at all in any of the movies just killed me.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's the only explanation. And I hate that it is, but I think that's why.
The planning was very poor.
Oh, horrible.
It's like the opposite
was
of
no
the
planning.
prequels. Like
It was exactly. It was
it's like the opposite of the prequels. The planning of the prequels was great for me. It was just the execution.
right.
With the sequel, I felt like some of the execution was done okay, but the planning of the overall story of Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker was just done poorly. It's like then they didn't know what to do after Force Awakens, so they're like, okay, let's bring in a good director and Rian Johnson. And
By the way,
That
Colin Trevorrow's script was beautiful. The fact that he wasn't able to bring that to life. Forget all these other cuts you guys want to do. Give me the Colin Trevorrow cut.
I would have loved to seen that on screen.
Love to have seen it on screen.
It doesn't do it justice reading it. It doesn't. You need I
Not
need
at
to see
all, because
it. I need to see it.
it makes me angry reading because I'm like, God damn, why didn't we get that? Like,
Yeah.
why did we get what we got? But I will say, shout out to listener Jim in the comment section of our live. He's asking who would win, Vader versus Rey. Vader would dog walk.
Vader,
I
by
mean,
far.
he would.
Yeah.
You know what?
Listen,
Hate to
Vader
say
will
it,
invincible her. That's
It's
what's gonna
so
happen.
he would He would Omni-Man her. He would
Exactly. That's what I was trying to remember his name. Omni-Man her.
the
Omni-
strongest in the universe if he was still alive.
I'll say this, Jim, to just put in a better perspective. Vader wouldn't need a lightsaber to kill Rey. That's how
Yeah.
powerful
They
Vader
choked her out.
was. You wouldn't need a lightsaber to.
He
Not
was a
even
better
that.
force wielder than the lightsaber wielder anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Anakin, like when you watch, we're getting into this now. Best Star Wars animated show. When you watch Clone Wars, they do make it seem as though Anakin is just filthy with a lightsaber. But anyone who knows in that timeline, the greatest lightsaber wielder was Mace Windu. But you never really got to see much of Mace Windu wield a lightsaber much in Clone Wars. It's why I do kind of love the original Clone Wars, where Mace Windu just got filthy with it.
Jack style.
He got filthy with a lightsaber in that. It was actually the first time we got to see a Force Crush was from that Star Wars, and it was our history of Grievous. It's why Grievous had a tough time breathing because Mace Windu Force crushed his chest. I guess
y'all
not
don't mess with
knowing.
him.
When you say original Clone
be
Wars, what do you
fair-
mean?
Say it again.
When you say original Clone Wars, what do you mean? The movie?
There was a Clone Wars before Dave Filoni's Clone
Yeah,
Wars.
it was like a movie type thing.
Mm-hmm.
This must be the thing I'm watching right now. Then, so okay, all right.
It
It
might
has a Samurai Jack type of
right
art style.
animation style to it.
I thought the
It's
first
on
Force
Disney
Crush
Plus.
was Revenge of the Sith.
Oh no, I just mean an animation.
Oh, okay.
Animation, yeah.
There's so many mediums.
There are.
Yeah, are.
Lives in
There
so
are.
many different fields.
Yes.
But yeah, best Star Wars animated show I give to Filoni's Clone Wars, only because, well, not only, but the biggest reason for me is it gave life to the clones. Clones in George Lucas's world very much felt like the mud putties from Power Rangers, to where it was just like, you're here. And
You're talking to the original Power Rangers.
Yeah, the original Power Rangers. You're only meant to like
Trayvon.
like yeah, like you're only meant to die. So Filoni took it and he gave them names. He gave them identities. He gave them personalities. And it's a huge shout out to D. Bradley Baker, who somehow was the same clone but made sure each one felt different. Like there's nothing about Cody that you look at and you go, man, that's just like Rex.
Mhm.
So he did a very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful job. And he fleshed out that world. Trayvon. He will find a way to bring Power Rangers.
So let me ask this:
Yeah,
is there anybody on this panel, by a show of hands, that doesn't agree with the fact that the Clone Wars is the best Star Wars animated series? Raise your hand.
I've not seen it, so I don't
I
agree.
finally started season 7, so I'm just saying.
Clone Wars.
No,
I
I
love
mean,
Rebels.
that's
Clone
very
Wars
fair.
is beautiful.
So then, okay, so we can make this easier. So if we all agree Clone Wars, Trayvon, since you have not seen Clone Wars, are you, I assume, going Rebels?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It's not bad. It's not a bad show at all.
Now, I said I have a small
they're
sample.
both amazing.
I only have a small sample size, but
Okay.
if I had to choose, it's clearly Clone Wars. It is. I did enjoy Rebels. I did, but I think Clone Wars, yes.
So KJ and I have been going through. We haven't watched every single episode of Clone Wars. We have been watching the essential episodes.
Yeah.
Going through. So we in Javon, or I'm sorry, John. Yeah, it was Juwan Trayvon. Sorry. Oh, you guys are so cute. Juwan and I have talked several times. I was like, yeah, we're on the last season of Clone Wars. We actually weren't. We actually literally, I thought it was 6 seasons, not 7. Literally started 7 last night. We got through the first 3, which started out with the Bad Batch. So which was really cool. So knowing now what I know going into season 7, only 3 episodes in, I know Rebels is next. So I have 0 sample size. I know the only thing I know is that Ahsoka confronts Vader in Rebels at some point, right?
Well, now you have to start Bad
That's
Batch.
close to the end. Yeah.
You have to start Bad Batch first instead of Rebels now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Well, because all right. So I'm good. So I'm good starting with like the Bad Batch series right now, going into everything
Honestly,
else going
you can
on.
start Bad Batch right now since you already watched the first 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. I did watch it today. So I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So,
Honestly,
do we lose Javon?
no, Javon is still here. My green screen always decides to just fall.
That does happen.
So I had to but no. You can definitely get right into Bad Batch. Like I said, to me, it's the biggest thing of I don't ever like for there to be dialogue or moments that you might miss out on. It's like I tell people you can watch Infinity War and Endgame if you have not watched any of the other Marvel movies. Because you can enjoy it for the spectacle. Well, you can enjoy it as a spectacle.
Right.
But the reason why you need to watch the other movies is when Thor gets really excited when Cap summons Mjolnir. You only understand that if you saw Age of Ultron.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to me with Bad Batch, what I assume it's going to be doing, they might go back to certain moments that happened in the Clone Wars. You know what I'm saying? Because literally, obviously, we've all seen the first episode. The Clone Wars had just ended.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the Clone Wars they're probably going to be referring to because it's so fresh. But yeah, so we all agree Trayvon's going Rebels. Very good show. I'll speak more on Rebels later for show I'm looking forward to the most. So very good pick on that. All right, so I'm gonna go to you, Ash. Your top 5 favorite Star Wars characters.
Oh, I love this. And my number 4, I will say this right now, my top 4 never change at all, ever. They have not changed since they've made top 4, but my number 5, you can ask me on another day and number 5 will change. So right now, this is my number 5 because I changed it.
It's
so
today.
Just like today, ask me again tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, and I bet you I will have a different top 5. So Anakin, Ahsoka, Rex. Wait, who's my number 4? Wait, how did I forget this? I had this. Wait, Anakin. Oh, easy. Anakin, Ahsoka, Rex, Hondo, and then my number 5 to fill it out. This time, I'm gonna go with Grievous. I think the last time we did this, I think I said it was Kanan, like my number 5. I did, right?
Kanan, yeah.
I did. See, you see, I told you now it's changed. So I'm gonna, number 5. I'm adding in Grievous.
Can I add what made you go Grievous over Kanan?
Listen, I've always loved Grievous. Like, he has always been one of my favorite characters in the Clone Wars. Like, I just love him. And what made me pick him over Kanan this time was because I was watching more of Revenge of the Sith than I was watching Rebels. But if I was watching Rebels, I absolutely would pick Kanan. But for right now, we're gonna go Grievous. And I definitely know the next time I get asked, Ventress is going on the list. So
Ventress honestly was on one of your lists when me and you were just talking. Ventress was on your list. But yeah, you've given me 3 5s now at this point. All right. Patches, I'm gonna go to you. What's your top 5 favorite Star Wars characters?
All right, number 1, Leia Organa. Yeah, I mean, like number 1, first and foremost. 2, I mean, like I'm an old school guy, you know. I saw all the movies in the theaters. Well, not the first one. I just because I was very young. Leia, Han, Luke, easy trifecta right there, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'm gonna go Lando, just because I mean, like he was this. You couldn't get more smooth than Lando, right? You just couldn't. And then, yeah. Then I mean, it's gonna be Obi-Wan, obviously, but Obi-Wan always like that. That's always my consistent top 5. It's just a matter of like how I'm feeling in the day, much like you, Ash. But like my top 5 set, you know, I'm new to the Clone Wars because I'm so damn old. So, you know, it's just, you know, like, it's just like how I'm feeling in the day. There's days it's like, you know what? Obi-Wan's just the shit, period. You know, I mean, and even if it's Sir Alec Guinness or Ewan, more specifically Ewan, it's like, all right, yeah, you're just a flat out badass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a fluid list.
I like it. Joe, what's your list?
I'm gonna go. So I'll go start with 5. Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, that version of Obi-Wan. So Obi-Wan, it's gonna sound generic, guys, because I'm more into the movies than I have been in the animated series. But so I'm gonna go Obi-Wan at number 5. Number 4, I'm gonna go Kylo. Number 3, I'm gonna go Luke. Number 2, I'm gonna go Anakin. And number 1, I mean, he's my favorite character of all time in any movie, in any franchise, is Darth Vader, easily.
Fair.
Yeah.
I'm going Kylo, Anakin, Malgus, Bo-Katan, and Luke. Okay. Bo-Katan will always make my list. Love her to death. Bought her figure. Love everything about Bo-Katan. Luke has always been a symbol of hope. It's why I did not appreciate what Last Jedi gave us. He's always a symbol of hope. That's what he's always meant to be. Anakin, I've already stated that. I don't need to go over that. Kylo is literally Anakin 2.0
basically.
And Malgus is just, that is woof. You talk about somebody that is just brooding. Like you could look at Malgus and just go, nah, I don't want any parts of that. Like I want nothing to do with that guy. Like Vader was just really tall, right? But Malgus is like muscular, not muscular like Brock Lesnar, but like he definitely doesn't look like most Sith that I guarantee you've probably seen in your life. So it's just brooding to see him. And then with the
but he could pop an F5 on your ass at any point.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100% out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Malgus, and Malgus also lends to my extreme love of Knights of the Old Republic. I need it. I need it injected into my veins at this point. AJ, as I believe I know one of yours, only one of yours, what is your top 5?
Okay. Number 5, I'm going Revan. I'm going Old Republic all the way. I have to. Mm-hmm. I actually replaced it with Anakin. Anakin was replaced with Revan, actually.
Whoa!
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
Number 4. So Anakin is number 6. That's just there.
He's the honorable mention.
I had to. Okay. Number 4 is Cad Bane. I love bounty hunters, Boba Fett, all of them, love them. But Cad Bane is number 1 for me. Number 3 is Obi-Wan. Number 2 is Thrawn, and number 1, Jawan, say it for me.
Ahsoka Tano.
There we go.
AJ loves him some Ahsoka. I try my best not to remind him that, you know, the person playing Ahsoka I've met and interviewed in person. Anyway,
Really? You really want to go? You want to go down that route? Come on. You know my other job, mate.
No, I do. Patches definitely can one up me in that. But no, Ahsoka definitely to me is the lifeblood of the new age of Star Wars. As much as they were trying to get Rey to be that, she just isn't. It's 100% Ahsoka.
But isn't it? I mean, let me ask you a question because I'm not completely and you know not ingrained into all the animated series and whatnot. Knowing what I know about Ahsoka just via Clone Wars and then Mandalorian, is it fair to say like Rey doesn't have the ground, you know, like or what the baseline that Ahsoka has leading up to the introduction of her character, though?
Like character development?
Yeah, I mean, and I just don't know that. I mean, that's just a question.
Being tied to Anakin.
Unfortunately, she was poorly written. She was written differently over the course of 3 movies.
Okay.
So it's the idea of Ahsoka's arc is one that you followed from the movie, then the series, then the Mandalorian. Rebels, I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't forget Rebels.
Then the Mandalorian. And then she's getting her own series.
Well,
so I think if someone did a show about Rey,
but Ahsoka
after it could.
But wasn't Ahsoka was created post Jedi, like post, you know, like when all the Star Wars, you know, like all the canon and the books and everything else came out, right? So I mean, is that a fair comparison to where like you had Rey, all that?
Rey wasn't an original. Well, Rey is an original character also. So Filoni created Ahsoka for the series,
but for about that long, comparatively to Ahsoka, who has been a character in the Star Wars universe for what, the better part of a decade, over a decade now, I think.
Right, but right, it would be right there if the writing for the character was just better.
No, okay. I'll disagree on that, because if Rey was there much longer, I think Rey's character would be as loved as Ahsoka. Like if you remember Juwan, Ahsoka was one of the most hated characters in Clone Wars.
Yeah, 100% when it first came out. Yeah, 100% when it first came out.
He was the most hated.
Right.
That's because she wasn't when Clone Wars started, when it first came out. That was because I don't think she was written that well, and I think that's the same thing. Well, I'm talking about like when she was in the movie, not the series itself. I don't think she was written that well in the movie itself. But
I'm saying,
but what I'm saying for Rey is that I don't think Rey was written that well as a character. Like for me, like as a character, I was excited for Rey to like see Rey. I felt more attachment, even though we knew him as long as we did Rey, to Finn. I felt more attachment to Poe than I did to Rey, because I don't think Rey was written that well. I mean, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I think if she was written better than what she was, she may have had better fan reception. I don't think people would have came out of the gate and said, "Oh my God, look at Rey, we love her so much." I still think people would have, pushed back and had their things to say about her. But I think if she was written better, she would have gotten less hate for her character than she did.
Also, the biggest issue with Rey was when J.J. Abrams created her, he went against the George Lucas formula of creating a Jedi. Like the idea that she had legit grabbed a lightsaber for the first time and then immediately could now wield it, use it.
Terrible writing.
It's just like that's never how George Lucas develops any of his. Like when you think of Luke, there was training. Luke, it wasn't just like Luke fought Vader the very first time he picked up a lightsaber. So it was the idea of giving her Vader fight in the first movie was just like a character development that you should have fleshed out maybe later on. But to me, longevity usually doesn't matter, because if you give me a brand new character, it either works or it doesn't work. Now, if you redeem it later on, that's different. I'm not saying Rey's a bad character. I'm not saying Rey is someone that I never want to see again, albeit I wouldn't lose sleep if I didn't. But if we did get a Rey series that takes place right after the Skywalker movie, I think they very much, again, better writing. You very much could redeem the character. But AJ makes a good point. But you also have to remember, AJ, Ahsoka was brought in a time where Star Wars was very much a guys' club. And it was the idea of this female Jedi coming in that guys just really weren't wrapping their head around.
I kind of feel like that happened to Ray too, though. To me,
I think so.
I don't know necessarily, because like even Dave Filoni said it. He said there was pushback in the writers' room of making Ahsoka as crucial as he made her, to where they were just like, well, dude, like we have enough female characters, and he's like, well, we can have more. Like, what do you mean? Like, we have 2, we can't have 2 more. So to me, Rey, like I didn't see any hate for Rey when the trailer came out. Because I don't think a lot of people knew what Rey was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it was no Rose feedback, unfortunately. Like God help that girl, like everything she went through after the Last Jedi. But I mean, yeah. But I mean, all things said and done. I mean, like I guess with the Rise of Skywalker, she had a bit of a redemption. But Ash, I mean, like that actually helps me out a lot, though, because I never really understood like how like going into the 6 7 8 9, like seeing the Rey character, I adored the Rey character, the scrapper, akin to this, obviously the Skywalker, arc and whatnot, but only learning about Ahsoka and immediately falling in love with that character as well. So, and that's, I guess I've just never understood that. It's like, like why it doesn't matter like where it comes from. Like how did you get so much hate for, like, so many people have so much hate for Rey? It's like she is a amazingly powerful woman in a galaxy saga that no one can tell but this particular story. How do you have this much hate for her? So
I think it's a
like
reactionary thing now. Like so many people are quick to react to a character so fast. Like example, Ahsoka was much like Asha, wasn't really well crafted in the beginning. Everybody instantly did not like her. Rey, nobody liked her as soon as she was announced. It was just a quick reaction thing. And I blame that solely on Twitter, not Netflix, Instagram, just all the social media.
All the socials.
Yeah.
It annoys me how people can be so quick to react even before the movie or a show can come out. It's a lot.
For me, it was just about writing. That's all it was. I mean, that's what it just comes down to.
That's all it came down to.
Yeah. I mean, when you rewatch Force Awakens, there's like 4 different points in that movie that lead you to believe 4 different people could be her parent. It's that moment where she shares with Han, where it goes, well, Han's daughter? Yeah. And then you even have that moment where Han looks at her and he's just like,
was that my
man? It was kind of like, man, chip off the old block. And then you see where he meets up with Maz Kanata, and it's like, who's the girl?
Right.
And you're like, oh, like is she the new chosen one? And then you get to the second movie, and it's like, you're nobody.
You're nobody. Your parents.
What?
Your parents sold you for drinking money.
Like what? Like even because you remember the first time. Remember when the stormtrooper goes to Kylo and he goes, like who defeated us? And it was like it was a girl.
Yeah.
And he's like, a girl.
What girl? Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, why is she so important? And it's like, no reason.
And then they dropped it off in the next one.
I mean, he didn't just turn around and say, what girl? He force pulled him across the room.
Right. He force pulled him like as if he knew that there was someone else out there. He just couldn't find him.
That was the problem. I mean, that movie set up a lot of things where not only anticipatory, but just little teasers. That's why I say it has a lot to do with the writing. I know there are people that there was blowback for, I guess, because they just didn't want the female character. I don't know why. I mean, original trilogy lovers, we had Leia as the strong female character, so she worked.
She was just like not if one like the top two main characters,
right? Yeah,
it was Leia and Luke the entire first trilogy.
Hey, you know what? Really quickly, I think what would have eased the blow for Rey and Ahsoka is if Lucas didn't keep out the fact of in those movies she was very much force sensitive. Luke very much did train her with a lightsaber. If she had wielded a lightsaber, I'm not saying she needed to be part of the final fight, but if she had wielded a lightsaber at any point, it would have blown guys' minds enough for them to go, I kind of like chicks with lightsabers. Like, I'm down for it. And it would have eased the blow. But Ahsoka was such a pioneer in the idea of she's your main character. Like legit, not your secondary character. This is her story that they're telling. And she has a lightsaber and she is a force user. And it just blew guys' minds like, whoa. What? Girls can do that? And it's like, yes. Did you think only boys were born with it? Like, what? Like, no.
And Juwan, I'm going to tell you, coming from the guy that's the old guy in this group here, the fact of having any, like, especially Leia wielding a lightsaber has been, like, in my mind since I was a child. And even getting a slight glimpse of it in The Rise of Skywalker, I was like, thank God. I just needed that. I just needed that one shot. Like that's been 40 years building up in my head.
The
right?
moments in Rise of Skywalker is just, I love all the moments in Rise of Skywalker, but it was just, like I said, the overall execution of the entire storyline was just all messed up for me.
Right.
Also, we've said this before of how much Kylo is supposed to be like Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
It fell very short with his sacrifice. It was just like you were clearly trying to recreate Vader reverting back to Anakin in his last moments, and it was just like it didn't work. And then you mentioned how he stole other younglings from Luke's school, and then he fights the Knights of Ren and he rips through them, and it's like wait, hold on. They were also trained.
They were so hyped up.
It was just like,
what?
It was just like, huh? He ripped through them like so easily, and I'm just like, what were you guys trained with? Like, were you the kids that your mom got the notice for the Jedi school late? And the day you went there was the day Kylo destroyed everything. Like,
are you the kid that got held back a year because your parents didn't sign you up?
I imagine they were the kids that were like on the side of the planet, like just calling their parents, like, you got to come get me, Mom. What did you do now? I don't know. Some kid blew up in school.
No more school. Me and Juwan talked about this, and I call it the George Lucas curse. And it's when they focus too much of everything rhyming. Like we get the original sequel trilogy, it rhymes. And then we get the prequel, and then we get the sequel, which for me, just get rid of the rhyming stuff. It doesn't hold any weight anymore. It's just a cliche at this point. Just focus on a good story.
And I'll even say, AJ, what's most frustrating is when you think of the first two titles, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and then the last movie is The Rise of Skywalker. How the hell does that fit in any of what you were just setting up there?
And what Rise of Skywalker?
None.
That's what I'm saying.
They killed them.
Like, first of all, can I say
Rey was Skywalker.
Ray was
Skywalker.
Hey, quit flipping me off, Juwan.
I will be that one person
again,
that will take the heat right now. Just
wait, say it again, Patches.
I said quit flipping me off like that.
Oh, sorry.
No,
come on,
Javon.
That's a Javon in me. That's not Javon.
Yeah.
No, but that's what upset me the most is when she go, like, the lady goes, well, who are you? And it's like, well, I'm Rey. Rey who? Rey Skywalker. And it's like, what?
I loved it.
What?
Sorry.
Long, awkward pause. Long, awkward
on.
pause. It's like, Rey who? Oh, wait, hold on. I'm having I'm having a semi stroke here. Oh yeah, those guys. Yeah. Oh yeah, Skywalker. My bad.
Like,
My
to
bad.
me, it was the weirdest thing because I thought the whole point of Rey's arc was to find her own identity.
Yes.
And it was like, now you're assuming on the Skywalker legacy, and it's like, wasn't the whole point of this to end the Skywalker legacy?
But I think her finding her own identity was the fact that she got to choose who she was. And her choosing to be a Skywalker is just a byproduct of it. Hence the title of the movie, right? So I mean, like, good for her for screw you guys. This is who I want to be. I want to be this person. I want to carry on this legacy. So, jog on, right?
It wasn't like it was just really random. It just wasn't.
No, it wasn't random. It was just to me, it was underwhelming. It was just like, what?
I think cinematically it waited way too long. It was just like too long of a pause between at the end, like they asked the question and then it was just too long because I mean, like, because if you think about it in the context of the movie, Rey who, and then John Williams starts coming in, and then Symphony, and then
Rey
Ghost
Solo.
Force, and then Look Back, and then Skywalker. It was just the whole sequence was too long. If it was shortened up by like 10 seconds, literally it would have been a lot more believable.
I think Solo would have been a better payoff. I think if you said Rey Solo would have been a better payoff.
I also think it would have been better if it was a build-up. Like, you had those moments of her and Leia. Clearly they couldn't have too many because she had passed away. But if you had the moments between the first movie and the last movie where it's like Leia is bringing her on as if she were her own daughter, rather than kind of just essentially her apprentice. So it was like when she said it, it was just like, first of all, I didn't understand it mainly because technically Ben was a Skywalker and she had just kissed him. So technically it was just like, you just kiss your cousin. Like,
well, I mean, that's keeping up with the storyline, mate.
Here we go. I thought it would have been funny too. It had she ignited the saber at that point when she said, who are you? Rey who? And then she just like Palpatine, and then she just
that would have been. I would have jumped.
That would have been.
Decapitates the woman's head. It just ignites a red lightsaber.
Joe, I would have clapped so hard.
Palpatine.
You know what?
Absolutely not.
She would have embraced the Palpatine. No. It would have been the meaning behind that would have been the name doesn't make who you are. You make your own person.
Yes.
And like you said, she took the better part of the trilogy to try to find her own identity, find out who she was, who her parents are. She finds out, obviously wasn't the answer she wanted, but at the same time, that's who she is. Yeah. And to just adopt a name from someone that she really didn't have a good relationship anyway.
No. Mm-hmm. She didn't have a relationship with Luke. She had no relationship with Luke.
No, it just wasn't developed enough. Like I said,
it wasn't developed.
Enough. If we got more interaction with Luke and Rey, or Rey and Leia, like everything happens outside of the movies. Like we see none of it, which is.
Or also, if you didn't spend the entire movie with Luke just being a complete a-hole to Rey,
right?
Where it was more so of him taking her.
I did love that
also,
flip.
We have
though.
to remember also though, Leia is an Organa. Like, yes, is she a Skywalker? 100%. But she's Leia Organa, so it's like she doesn't even have the last name Skywalker. So it's like even more.
She's got a blood, she's got bloodline. That's
it. No, 100. She is a Skywalker for sure. But I'm like, even she doesn't have the last name Skywalker.
Right.
It's an adopted last name. Organa is an adopted.
For sure, but she kept it. Well, mainly
politically,
for
political reasons.
Right.
Exactly.
But ultimately, she did keep it because ultimately, at the end of the day, that is who she was. Was the daughter of Bail Organa. So to me, that's why I was like, Rey finding who she was. Like, I would have liked it if she just kept it at Rey.
Yeah,
I'm Rey.
Rey.
But the difference between that is that with Leia and Bail, it was fleshed out. That's why we still accept it. But
well, there's a lot of validity at that point, AJ. Yes.
Go ahead, Patches. Though. Go ahead.
Oh no. Sorry, guys. I just want to say sorry. I got to pop out here, but I know I apologize for derailing so many times tonight, but I know we got to get on to the Bad Batch, and I do have to cut out because I do have some prior obligations as well. The only thing I want to interject before I pop off for the Bad Batch is what I learned from the very first episode is that the Empire lost everything. The Empire, the First Order, and the Final Order, they screwed themselves on a bad business decision.
Yeah.
Okay. And the only business decision was Admiral, right? Soon to be, Governor Tarkin was talking about the Kaminoans, well, we can get conscripted soldiers at half the cost of a clone soldier. Well, yeah, go ahead and cut those costs. See what's up. Oh, shit. You lost it all, didn't you? It only took you 40 years, but y'all lost it, didn't you?
It was also confusing how in that moment where literally Palpatine rules over everything, he was just like, money's real tight right now. It's like, Palpatine, really? Money's tight? Money's tight.
Right.
You
Yeah.
own the entire galaxy, but
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Bad business.
But Palpatine doesn't really concern himself with political aspects.
Right.
Not at all. But to be
Yeah.
fair, maybe he did blow the budget on Vader.
Yeah, but I mean,
That is
we
fair.
don't know who his CFO was, so his CFO
That
could
is-
really
that,
screwed the
like,
pooch.
I can picture
So-
a scene where Tarkin walks in and he's just like, "Hey, Palpatine, I'm gonna go pay them for some more clones," and he's like, "About that, I had to give Vader a body, so
That screwed quarter three, guys. So
You're
we're
gonna have to-
really
yeah." He's like, "Is there any way we can get like 5 clone troopers and then they just train regular people?
right, yeah,
I can't afford all of them."
yeah. No. It's good. So bad business is why the Empire and the Sith fell. So that's all I'm saying, guys. Thank you. I love you. You're the absolute best. May the 4th be with you.
You too, Pat.
See ya.
Thank you, and Kate.
Good night.
Bye.
So we will get right into that. Trayvon, do you have your list of your 5 favorite characters?
Yes, and it's based off pure enjoyment of them. So 5 is Hera, 4 is Poe, 3 is Kanan, 2 is Finn, and 1 is Ezra. I love them, and that's what I'm going with.
Right.
I'm so glad you put Hera on there.
Yes, I love her.
Because it
Badass.
hurts me that I don't have Hera in my top 5 as yet, but she's about to be right there. I love Hera so much. I love that she was in Rogue One. We heard.
Oh,
her
that's
name.
yeah.
We heard her name.
I was excited. I was like, "Oh, we gonna see him? We gonna see him?" No. Okay.
We did see Chopper.
We did see Chopper.
I freaked out when I saw Chopper.
I do think it'd be a huge mistake if Patty Jenkins' main character is not Hera for her movie. There's not many female pilots of her rank. And sure, because you just create someone, sure. But to me, it's like, flesh these characters out a lot more, man. Like, it's not good that we only
Love
see them
that.
in animation. Bring them into live action. Have Hera be your pilot that you're basing your movie
Well,
on.
I think they're doing that slowly because you have the Mandalorian, which is going to connect to maybe Bad Batch. You have Bad Batch maybe connecting to the Ahsoka series with Thrawn. Maybe I'm just speculating on here.
I don't think it'll, because remember, Thrawn in the timeline of Bad Batch is nowhere near where he is by the time of Rebels. It's still a bit of a gap.
Well, is it?
Yeah,
It's still
a bit.
I would love to see him live action though.
Think of it like this. Thrawn is still rising through the ranks during Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So remember, Bad Batch is now. If you're talking about between now and when Bad Batch ends, like they're done with the show completely. Sure, yeah, you could say that by that time he's built up to that rank, and then Bad Batch leads you into Rebels. Sure, but right now it's too fresh. It's literally right after, or not after, but right during Revenge of the Sith, like those last those last moments of Revenge of the Sith. So in that timeline, Tarkin, not God, why I keep thinking Tarkin, Thrawn is not of the rank yet. So in like the third season, you could say that for sure. In the third.
I can't remember the timeline, but there was a point where Thrawn was helping out, and Anakin was helping out Thrawn in I think it was the first Thrawn novel.
No, you're 100% right, and I'm not saying Thrawn doesn't exist. I'm just saying his high rank.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to figure out where his rank is within.
I'd say whatever is not the lowest, but like whatever the first credentials you could have of a war commander. I would say it's probably that. Okay. I would say it's probably around that. And here's always the best way to know where Thrawn is. When Thrawn rises to power, you know it because you can look at how old Tarkin is. And he's relatively young here. Not young like 30s, but not old like we know Tarkin will be by the time Thrawn rises to power. So I usually always gauge it by that. Tarkin's wrinkles. That lets me know where Thrawn is. But all right. I like that list, Trayvon. I really do. Finn could have been used so much better. I still to this day regret that they didn't just make Finn. I know it would have been too safe, but making Finn Mace Windu's son would have been perfect. He was force sensitive. And sure, could he have been force sensitive for so many different reasons? Yes. But if you aren't going to give us Mace Windu ever, let someone carry on the legacy of Mace Windu. And you could have easily said that was his dad.
I want to say something about that. So when I saw the trailer for Force Awakens, they made it seem like he could, was going to be something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, he was force sensitive.
I mean, like a Jedi,
like an actual.
I feel like they teased us with a lot, and I was like, "Oh, you're not gonna do it? He's really not gonna be okay." I thought they were gonna do it. They didn't do it, and also he got a lot of hate too. What I remember,
he did. He absolutely did.
That trailer, man. Both of them got hate during that trailer, man.
To be fair, a lot of his hate that I saw was from how poorly he was written in the second movie.
Oh yeah.
So to me, that was the biggest issue because that was just like clearly Rian Johnson was just like, wait, I have to use him. All right, fine. He'll be dead most of the movie, and then when I decide to bring him in, I'm gonna just completely throw his whole plot away. And I didn't like that Abrams ended that movie with him not just coming out and saying, "Hey Ray, I'm force sensitive."
Yeah.
Why did you hide that? Like, why was that something we had to infer?
I mean, the same way they hide the fact that somebody could have just told Kylo that Vader died a hero,
I still don't get that. Luke was right there and could have easily been like, "Hey, your grandfather was a great man," and Kylo would have been like, "Oh, okay, that changes everything that I was thinking about doing tomorrow."
There's a lot of plot holes that we can absolutely discuss.
Oh yeah,
all the Star Wars movies, so we can discuss.
Sure.
One random thing. Did you guys see this video of this real lightsaber?
Yep.
With the Disney,
I was very fascinated by that. Yeah, if it's not a plastic thing popping up, it's just some kind of like light. I don't know.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Really fascinated by this.
Yeah.
So,
JD.
How much that'll cost? Like, what's cool?
Yeah.
What's up, everybody?
Flip it, JD.
Flip it.
There we go. Welcome in my brother JD. What's going on, JD?
Everybody? Oh man, I had Prime the other way. Sorry, I'm coming in all fumbling. What's up, everybody?
So I want to go through
with y'all.
Absolutely, you too, JD. Before we get into our last few topics, I want to go through a few of the earlier ones with you really quickly.
Yeah.
What's your best Star Wars movie?
Rogue One.
Okay. Yep. Okay. We love that. And I already know the answer to this, but your favorite Star Wars animated show?
Oh, the Gennady Tartakovsky Clone Wars cartoons.
Yep. The award-winning Star Wars.
Oh, it did. Oh, get out of here.
Yep. Award-winning.
Yeah, they were shorts though. They were like maybe 10 minutes long each one. They weren't full.
Well, they released it as like when you go on Disney Plus now, it's 2 parts that are like an hour long.
Oh, okay.
Both
Nice.
parts are like an hour long. Yeah.
Nice.
Your top 5 favorite Star Wars characters.
All right. Han, Chewie, Darth.
Which
Han,
Darth?
Chewie.
Hold on, which Darth?
Which? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. The original Vader, the James Earl Jones Darth.
Yeah,
You know, I'm sorry. That's the only Darth that counts with me. Wow. That's my top 3. You know, then everything else is just it's just there. You know, Luke fits in as well as Obi-Wan does. People forget the importance of Sir Alec Guinness and what he brought to the table. You know what I mean? He offered a sense of legitimacy to this space opera that the world really wasn't ready for. You know, I'm sorry, I'm an originalist. So those first 3 flicks are really what stand out to me, and Rogue One, because it bridges the gap between the prequels and the original stuff.
Now,
you know, 5th one could be a toss up with anybody.
I'm with you in that. So I want to ask you, wait, have you seen Bad Batch yet, JD?
No, that's not my jam, bro. I tried to do the Clone Wars stuff. You know, everybody amped up that fight scene between Ahsoka and Darth Maul. And, you know, I saw it after giving the first 2 episodes a try all those years ago. And it didn't work for me, man.
I get you. But to be fair, I do think because your love of the original so much and how this one is more of, it's just a different version of it, but it's drastically different.
Okay.
But
no,
right.
I mean, I love how it expanded on the whole thing. You know, I try to get in on how Darth Maul came back to life with his 2 other brothers and how that tied into the Dathomir sisters. See, that wasn't it for me. What I was really into the Timothy Zahn novels. I don't know if anybody picked those up.
Yeah.
But you know, the fact that those novels aren't like referenced anymore, they're not canon, that kind of hurts. You know, even the whole Young Jedi Academy with Jason, Jaina, you know, the death of Chewie, the Dark Horse stuff really resonated with me. You know, Dark Empire and Vima Naboda, and how she was the one that trained Leia, not Luke in his academy. All those Dark Horse years, you know, the Rick Veitch artwork. Oh man, that jammed with me. Even the Rogue Emperor's Guard, you know, that he had his own spin-off series with Crimson Empire. That stuff was jamming, man. So to have like forgotten it, not even mention it, and not even mention, you know, the Timothy Zahn stuff where they explain who the Bothans are, and we never got to know who those Bothans were that stole the Death Plans in Rogue One. You know, when they showed that whole alien race, even Dash Rendar, you know, the knockoff Han Solo. You know, that stuff. That's not, you know, having that loss. Not that it set me off of the Clone War stuff, but I invested so much time reading all of that stuff. I don't want to push it out with all this new stuff that is canon.
Well, are you reading the new novels now?
I haven't, dude. I have not.
So with Thrawn right now, they're doing a lot of stuff that was in the original novels.
Okay.
And it's really cool. Like, I think the novels will be the best point for you since you're a traditionalist. So you have the Tarkin novel, which was amazing.
Okay.
Thrawn Trilogy is on its 4th book now, which is doing amazing.
Now, do they keep up with the whole concept of, you know, the Emperor being pretty much a bigot and not jamming with any alien race, and for Thrawn to have been, you know, a Grand Admiral was like, you know, pretty much unheard of. That's why he was on the outer region of stuff.
Yep.
Yes, it's not very like expanded on like the original novels, and stuff, but it is in there. It is in there, but she doesn't like aliens and all of that.
I got you.
We're gonna end the show on Bad Batch, but we have 2 other topics before we get there. So I want to go into most anticipated Star Wars project For me, it's Ahsoka.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with Ahsoka. It has everything to do. No. I don't mean like I don't care about Ahsoka.
No, I
mean
know
it
that.
because we're supposed to be getting Ezra back.
Mhm.
And if you follow Ezra's arc in Rebels, everyone kept warning Kanan of the darkness that lies within Ezra. And it's like, you got to be careful. And Kanan's like, no, don't worry. You know, all the things Obi-Wan kept saying. And you see it when he holds the Sith holocron. To where, remember that last episode where it ends with his eyes closed. And as the holocron opens, his eyes open and it's like the red within his pupils. So the rumor has it, Thrawn has corrupted Ezra, and Ezra is at the side of Thrawn. And it is now Ahsoka's journey to bring Ezra back. So if that is the storyline for this Ahsoka show, sign me up. I will take every last drop of that. And I would also like it. I know I'm a very visual guy. I want the very early on stages of Thrawn to be more so in the shadows, and it's just the red eyes gleaming, and you hear his voice. Because I want it to be that
artwork. That artwork that was in the Thrawn novel. It was basically
exactly. Because to me, that's a dope visual. You don't always need to see him. It's the eyes. You know, it's kind of the Batman effect, to where you see the white eyes in the darkness. You don't really need to see anything else. It's literally the silhouette of it. But yeah, so it's the Ahsoka show for me. Ash, I'll pass it to you next. What's your most anticipated Star Wars?
I have two, and I can't choose between either one of them, so I'm gonna say both of them. First one, Ahsoka. Like, that is my girl. I am excited. I am also excited to get Ezra back as well. Like, I just give me. And then I'm also really excited for Obi-Wan as well, because if one of the things that I love about Star Wars is that there's so many stories that are just untouched within this universe, and I am excited to see how they talk about Obi-Wan's exile. Like, I am excited for the fact that Hayden's coming back. Listen, I can go in on Aiden all day. I love him. He's my favorite by far. And I'm excited to see those two back like that. Like, them for me is amazing. I'm excited to see how they tackle Obi-Wan's trauma with this war, because that man got a whole bunch of damn trauma. So I am just like, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the Ahsoka series. So like, that's Ahsoka side. That's where I'm gonna go. Those two.
No, I mean, I love it. And I told you, from what I'm hearing from the Obi-Wan show, if it is the idea of Vader sending, which we know Vader was not a fan of the Inquisitors. I know Rebels kind of muddies the water of that, but from what George was doing with his earlier comics, Vader was never really a fan of the Inquisitors. So from what I'm hearing, it's possible Vader enlists Cody and a bunch of Inquisitors to capture Obi-Wan. And in their failures, where we get the face-off between Vader and Obi-Wan. So again, if that is even remotely true, that is beautiful. To get Cody back and to see him in a more, like a more deadly, kind of version of Cody, alongside some Inquisitors would be pretty dope. So yeah, no,
I will just say, if we get Vader versus Obi-Wan in this show,
he'd break the internet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Okay, maybe I would still complain. I absolutely would still complain, but I would just be more satisfied than anything else. Like, it would make me so happy, because it would be the first Obi-Wan Vader battle that we've seen in a really long time, like since the original trilogy. And for someone who is a new, like, well, not new, but like new fan that didn't see that, I can't imagine like what new fans would think about, like, if they were to see that happen, like come alive, like.
Yeah,
so
I mean, man, that's what I thought Rogue One did. If you were a new fan, to see Vader ignite that lightsaber in that
great move,
hallway. It was beautiful, because to me, like I told you, JD, Star Wars to me is not complete without a lightsaber being somewhere.
I get you.
So it was a way to kind of bridge people to remind, because there were probably people watching that like, I thought Star Wars was like the thing with like the lightsabers or whatever, and it's like, boom, here you go. I give you some sprinkles on that ice cream. There you go. There's a little bit of lightsaber work. By the way, JD, my dad's watching in
yeah, what's up, Pop?
He told me to tell you.
Man.
All right, Joe, I'm gonna go to you. What project are you looking forward to from Star Wars?
Well, with the exception of the easy answer of Obi-Wan, because of exactly what you said about Hayden coming back and the fact that we might get a version of this fight that I would definitely want to see over the original, in that clunky, very stiff match, between the two, an older Alec Guinness and of course Darth Vader. But I'm going to go Acolyte. I'm going to go the Acolyte. I actually, for some reason, of course, it being the dark side, and what is it? Is it the origin of the Sith? Is that what this is going to be about, or something of that nature?
It's supposed there's two different stories. So one of the stories is it's the uprising of the Sith.
Okay.
Another theory is the idea of it being the first female Sith.
Okay.
It's about her.
All right.
It's very, we don't really have enough yet, but
Either
that's
way,
what I'm the most.
I choose that one because, and I think, honestly, if they would have done this instead of, as much as I do like some of the elements of the sequel trilogy, I love Kylo Ren. I would have liked Rey a little bit more, just more developed. But I think if they would have went in a route where we weren't familiar with, they would have started from prior to episode 1 and then built that way. Even leading up to eventually, I'm going to draw a blank really quick, and I hate this, but up until the point where we get Darth Sidious and Plagueis, and just built up that way instead of 7, 8, and 9, I think it would have been better because we wouldn't have really had expectations. I mean, most of you who I guess read the novels and knew of these characters, but for the casual fan who only really seen the movies, I would have liked to start from scratch and start and build from, and even create something new.
Right.
And then, so I'm interested in the Acolyte. Of course, I want to see Obi-Wan, but I think the Acolyte, yes.
See, I'm a big person. I'm a big person in wanting stuff that's in the novels and comics to be presented in the movies because their stories are better told for movies than anything else, which is really annoying because all the novel writers and all of them are fantastic story writers. And if they could help out with the movies and shows, I think it'll just elevate the movies and stuff so much more than what we've gotten so far.
Well, this is all the things that Kathleen ignored. They ignored this. There is lore, there is history, there are books, there are what's the word? But there are things that they could have looked up. Like you said, the novels, a lot of people love the novels. A lot of people love the comic lines, even the Vader comic line. Yeah. There are things that they could have done coming from that, stemming from that. So I agree. I think, they should have taken stuff from the novels and just.
And I will say, Joe, I told AJ this as soon as I heard what Acolyte would be about. I immediately told AJ, I'll never give this show any compliments of any degree if I don't want to hear about him. I want to see Plagueis the Wise.
Yeah.
He is alive and very much kicking during the timeline of where Acolyte is supposed to take place. So if I don't, he does not have to be the focus, but You're not telling me other Sith users are existing out here and you're ignoring the most powerful one at the time.
Yeah.
He needs to be in the show.
I agree.
And I don't care if it takes away from your main character. To me, you have to be authentic. And you can't tell me that all these other Sith running around and Plagueis is just like, they can do what they want. No.
Especially after you talked about it in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
100%. We never got to see any of that. And AJ always jokes that Palpatine took the sucker way out by killing him in his sleep. But apparently that's what happened in Star Wars. They take the sucker
how you do
it.
Yep. Star Wars very much is the I'm going in for the hug. And then when I hug you, I ignite the lightsaber. You know what I'm saying? Star Wars has always been that.
Well, that's all. That's what we wanted from Snoke too. We all assumed, or we all had some type of.
I thought he was Plagueis the Wise.
Theories that he was Plagueis.
Yeah.
Just would have made more sense.
It also bothers me Snoke not having a lightsaber, but anyway, it's a whole nother story. Anyway, AJ, I'm gonna go to you. What are you looking forward to?
Obviously, it's Ahsoka. That's 100% my choice, and Obi-Wan, of course, because I love those two characters. But Ahsoka mainly because we might get another Battle of Mandalore. They hinted at that during season 2 of Mandalorian, so we might get Ahsoka and Bo-Katan together again. Yeah. Just hoping for that. And then we're also getting Thrawn, which is also one of my favorite characters. And then what you guys talked about with Ezra. So there's a lot to think about with Ezra, and if he did fall to the dark side and he's helping Thrawn out now, there's a lot to discuss with that. So yeah, Ahsoka is my choice.
And by the way, speaking of Bo-Katan, we don't give not Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau enough credit for how perfect the writing was for the end of that episode, because you have to know the Star Wars lore to understand why she kept saying, "He is mine. When we find him, he is mine." And you kept hearing Mando go, "Okay, yeah. All right, you can have him. I only care about the kid." And then it's the moment of when he walks in there, and I imagine fans who don't know, they're like, yeah, great. Anyone who knows watched that moment was just like, oh man, he does not know he has to fight her.
Well, the thing is, I understand some of the criticisms with that, because in Rebels,
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I will always say Dave Filoni very much goes in and out on his own concepts of Star Wars. So Dave Filoni even says that is the way that you have to get it back. We know that from Clone Wars with Pre Vizsla. And then you get to Rebels, and then Filoni softened on that and was just like, "Nah, you can hand it off to who you want." And it's like, Dave, no, you just set the precedent in Clone Wars. That's how Maul got the Darksaber, is he had to defeat Pre Vizsla. So that's why I say don't ever listen to Dave Filoni when it comes to the Darksaber. He's confused. But that was great writing. Great writing. But anyway, JD, I'm gonna go to you. What are you looking forward to the most?
Okay, I was gonna say Ahsoka until you told me the whole thing with the Ezra stuff. I liked the Ahsoka stuff in Mandalorian with all the tie-ins to Seven Samurai. I'm a big Akira Kurosawa fan. All right, I got the Criterion Collection edition of Seven Samurai, and seeing so many elements in there that tied into it, with her being the lone samurai, I would have liked to just see her explore a totally different corner of the Star Wars universe without any ties to anything. Bring in new stuff to the fold since she was a new character, right? Just have her not touch anything that was major lore that people can get into spoilers with, right? So for me, tying her into something else, that defeats the purpose in my mind of who that character is. I would have said Obi-Wan, but I don't want to see the tie-ins with Vader. I don't. I think the success of Obi-Wan is his ingenuity and how he throws everyone off the trail of Luke being on Tatooine. So maybe if Vader's looking for Luke and throwing tidbits in other places to keep those people away from Tatooine, that for me is the hook of it, right? Or how he should be doing things in the rest of the universe, but his responsibility is protecting Luke at all times. I want to give an honorable mention to the Rogue Squadron movie.
Yes.
That's going to be the gem, because anybody knows Rogue Squadron, Wedge is the only person that survived all 3 movies besides our main cast. So let me give that. That's my 5th character, Wedge. All right, he's a survivor for all 3 flicks. So and then that promo piece of I forget the director's name of her, Patty Jenkins, right? Of just rollerblading, talking about her dad being a pilot, going to the back of her car, just like any of us would have done, when we're done in our day of playing, and just throwing the Rogue One suit and seeing the X-Wing. If that doesn't get your juices flowing. But let's do that Boba Fett story, man. Just seeing him sit on Jabba's throne, that's the jam. But please keep it away from any element of anyone saying, oh, it really ties into this. I don't want it to tie into anything else anymore. I don't. Yeah, it's okay to throw nods to, what may have came before, like show a picture here or show another carbonite person hanging. I definitely want to see Tamura Morrison, bringing more Maori components to the Boba Fett concept, seeing him with a dad bod and seeing him with a sarong, around his waist instead of the Boba Fett normal jetpack pants. I want that. More Ma Ning-Wen and just give me new stuff. You know what I mean? Do what Clone Wars did, right? Go into brand new territory and build up another few years of information and lore that are going to draw the next generations into it. When they see what comes after this stuff, to be like, oh, do you remember back in the Boba Fett movie, series, when they talked about this? Could it be here? Because all these spoiler theories and are just driving me bananas. Just enjoy what we got, and we can't enjoy what we get until we find new territory to explore.
I will say, JD, unfortunately, we haven't heard from the Boba Fett show yet, but Filoni is building a continuity with all his shows on Disney Plus. So it is possible that in one way or another, it does leak into something else, because I think what Jon Favreau was saying was it's supposed to be kind of like how they built Marvel, to where you build it up.
Okay, see, if you do that, that's cool, right? Like, all right, like Matt Murdock is the lawyer. So you didn't have to see Daredevil in the Spider-Man comic because Matt Murdock was represented, but that's Daredevil.
Right.
All right. Or have, oh my God, the Thing is reeling the Daily Bugle. Give me that. All right.
Okay,
you don't have to interweave it so tightly that you don't got room to breathe.
You're saying you don't need Mando to be in Boba Fett show to show that there can. I get you. Okay.
You don't have to. You don't have to have Vader have another fight scene with Obi-Wan. Has been done. It's been decided twice. Obi-Wan Obi-Wan once. Obi-Wan won once. Yeah. And Vader won once. Right?
Won twice.
Time out, JD. I was just about to say Obi-Wan won, because that was a sacrifice.
He did
that
on
purpose. Yeah, he did that on purpose.
Yes. He completed his objective, but he didn't make it out of the situation with his head. All right? And
he lost the battle
when you're living in the Blue Force, you get to live a regular life. Are they eating sandwiches when on the other side of the astral plane?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Can they go see a movie someplace else?
I will say, JD, to your point, I think the best way to explore more of the Star Wars world, you got to make everything that you took away canon again.
Because you don't.
To me, I would rather that, because they explored literally every reach of Star Wars. To me, I think once you reduced it into taking away all the stuff that's no longer canon, they just honed in on everything that had to do with Skywalker or around the Skywalker story. And that's where all of our stories are today.
I see where you're going with it, but I got to disagree, because I don't want it to be rehashed, because Rise of the Skywalker was rehashing the whole clone concept that was in Dark Empire 1 and Dark Empire 2, right? George Saboth, Mara Jade, all right, all that was condensed into the last, Clone Wars that we saw on the Sith planet. I don't even want to get started on that, because where the hell did all those Sith people come from? Are they Sith ghosts? Are they real people? Are they like, the people that used to follow the bad guy in Harry Potter, where they were regular people, and then once they found out the Emperor was back, they put their cloaks on and started to rock with him? No. And then going back to the Thrawn novels, right? You had that whole not Death Star, you had the Imperial Destroyer fleet, right? And that was one of the big concepts in that first Thrawn trilogy was a fleet that was lost out there, and both sides trying to claim it. So they tried to rehash those elements, and they gave us something that was choppy and shitty. Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead, AJ.
So give me new stuff.
Yeah, I'm with JD on this. I do wish that they do explore outside the Skywalker saga a lot more. Like, there's a lot of lore with Old Republic. Like, there's too much there's just a lot with Old Republic. You can have Revan, you can have Malgus, you can have the twins, you can have Arcane and Dex.
You really want those twins, AJ? I swear, no one talks about those twins but you.
I've been waiting for him to bring it up. I'm not gonna lie. I've been waiting to hear about the twins.
He wants the twins and the sister. Like AJ's been rooting for them probably as much as I've been rooting for Malgus.
Oh, so AJ, you read a lot of the Young Jedi stuff?
Huh?
You read the Young Jedi stuff?
Mm-hmm.
That was great stuff, dude.
Good stuff.
You know what I mean?
That was good stuff.
Even what was the name of the kid that Han kind of adopted, and he went to train with Luke, and he had the double bladed lightsaber? I forgot the kid's name.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I can't remember.
I'm John.
Yeah. But this is when the twins were babies, and before Anakin was born. Oh man, it was Luke's. He was part of Luke's first trainees on Yavin 4.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember.
Oh man, yeah, and the kid got possessed by the Sith who was trapped in the Yavin Temple.
I'm gonna have to look that up, but
yeah,
going on with the newer sequel. Talking about the dyad and the Force and all of that. Mm-hmm. That would have been perfect for Thaxon and Arkan. It would have, God, so much. It was just a mess. So there's a lot that they can do with the Old Republic.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. They're afraid to do it. They're afraid to do it, and I don't know why. But one day they'll have to actually do it, and hopefully we're all alive when they do. Trayvon, I'm gonna go to you. What are you looking forward to?
Well, actually, Andor. I really liked him in Rogue One.
Cool. Nice.
So I'm excited to see more of him. I thought it was great. So now when you did say Ahsoka, and when you start talking about Ezra, and I didn't know all that. I didn't know that's what they were planning on doing. That makes me very excited for that showdown. So that's right behind it. It's right there. It's like right there. I was like, okay, it's right there. And then I've found to trust Favreau and Filoni now, so the Reigns of the New Republic show. It's just a crossover event. I was like, cool, that sounds fun to me. Like they're bringing them all together, the Mando and Ahsoka and all that together. So that sounds cool. And it would be Lando, but they're not like confirming if Donald Glover is going to play him or what. Like they're just saying there's a show, and I'm like, I'm excited for Justin Simeon to do it. Mm-hmm. Like he did Dear White People, and I was, I'm excited for that. Like his writing is funny. I'm excited for that. It's a Star Wars thing for him, but I don't know who's playing the character, and I feel like it was kind of perfect casting. I'm like, you can't, can't kind of pull that away
to get Glover have that cadence, to hear him capture it before you even saw him show up on screen. I think was great. Just that. That smooth rhythmic cadence in his voice is money, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know. I haven't heard much traction on that. It was one of those. You remember when Loki was first announced, and it was the concept of it was going to be narrated by Tom Hiddleston, but it was not a young Loki, and then they completely trashed that.
Yeah.
Lando is the same thing. It was said early on that it was going to be Billy D. Williams.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Then I'm hearing that
I just assumed Donald Glover because
we assumed it'd be a prequel, right? That'd be how you can sustain the story. Yeah. But again, it could take place after Rise of Skywalker. Who knows? I have no idea.
They teased that with his relationship with Jaina. No.
Yes.
That's possibly his daughter, or they alluded to that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing Star Wars has to get out of.
Okay, yeah.
You legit don't have to. Hey, this character.
Yeah.
This one character happens.
Right.
To be black. That character happens to be black.
They gotta
They
be.
have to be
Oh,
related.
they're related.
There's
got
You
it.
can
no
say the
other
same
black
thing about Finn and
personality.
Mace, though. You can say that, you know, everybody assumed or wanted to assume that it's possible that Finn was Mace's
Because he was
I only said that though. To be
course.
fair, Joe, I only said that though because there's not many black Jedi that we.
right. No, you're right.
So
You're
it's
right.
like there's
Yeah.
not another one I can go to and go, well, it could be his.
Yeah.
Or it could be an original concept for sure. But to me, it doesn't seem like they're going to give us any more Mace Windu. So if you're not, then yes, I would like the legacy to continue.
But the other thing is too, though, white or black, not everybody has to be related to one another in Star Wars. It just they have to do away with that plot as well.
Mhm.
I agree with you 100%.
And I
the
think the best
curse
way
of
to
the
do
George
that,
Lucas. George
big-
Lucas curse. I'm telling you.
universe.
and I do think the best way to do that, Joe, is to stop giving us Skywalker stories.
Right.
Like it seems to only happen there in Skywalker saga that literally everybody is related. It's one large Alabama.
Right.
But anyway,
My cousin's mother.
we can,
Oh, ooh, Alabama catching strays. Look at that.
we can move on. What is one thing you want to see from Star Wars going forward that has not been announced? And JD, I will start with you.
Oh, great. Give me time to think, dude. Come back. Can you come back around? Can you
Yeah, I'll come back around to you. I'll come
I
back
came
around.
in here last minute, bro.
I'll come back around to you. Ash,
All
I'll
right.
go to you first.
I'm one of the people that I'm very firmly in the camp of I want to see more lore outside of the Skywalker saga. I love the Skywalker saga, like with all of my heart, but I am interested in the Jedi. I want to see the Jedi before the Sith, even come into play. I want to see when the Jedi break apart. Like
Oh,
when?
That's the High Republic, right?
No, this is before. I think this is before.
That's before the
Yeah,
High
that's
Republic.
what they're doing in High Republic right now.
Yeah, that's
Is that what they're
saying.
doing in High Republic? Ah,
Yeah,
damn it.
it's just Jedi. No. They're not doing a show or movie, so you can still choose.
Oh no. Okay, yeah. Then let me yeah. So I want to see them. Yeah. Oh, they are doing that in High Jedi. That High Republic. That got my brain going a little bit. But I do want to see them explore that, and I want to see them talk about the fact, because again, like they split because not everyone believed right in their ideals and the way that they were working with that. I want to see the ramification of that. I want to see like how exactly they have developed from this entity that they were to like what they are now in the Republic. Like I want to see that transition. I want to be able to see Jedi that are walking away from the Order. Like I want to see more of that. And then I also want to see more of the Sith as well. Like give me more origin stories of the Jedi as an organization. Well, not organization. You know what I'm trying to say.
I
And then
get
Sith. Like give me those two, and I want more of that before we even touch anything remotely Skywalker, because that's so much that we haven't gotten. And we're right now, all they're giving us is, oh, the Jedi are dead. The Jedi are dead. They're no longer here. They're no longer here. Okay, so give us them when they are here and when they're at their height and when they're powerful. Thank you. So that's where I'm at.
See, I love that because I would like to go the opposite way. I want when the Sith re-enter and it's all Sith, everything. And the reason why, and it's why I had such a big issue with Abrams going the route of there's no Jedi, there's really only Kylo Ren, because to me it's like when everyone got upset, like, oh, it's not fair that Rey came right on the scene and was able to defeat Kylo. Well, technically, by the movie standards, Kylo also has never fought anyone else that's been force sensitive. I'm not talking about the books because we know clearly he has. But in the parameters of the movie, it made it seem like he had not fought anybody else that was force sensitive. It's why Rey caught him off guard. So to me, it's like I want where it's fully trained Jedi versus fully trained Sith, and they are going ham at each other. That's what I want. So to me, AJ, you know this from the Knights of the Old Republic trailer, where you get the they're taking. First of all, that guy looks like a human Cad Bane. First of all, but as they're arresting him and bringing him to the holding cells, you see the one Jedi just sense it, and then you see all the ships come into orbit, and it's like, oh my God, the Sith have returned. And to me, I want that feel of the Jedi are just like, man, we've been living really good. And then it's like, whoa, what? Like, wait a minute, what's happening? I want that. So I want you, Ash, to have your peacetime where it's Jedi, everyone's drinking herbal tea, they're braiding.
Oh, no. We don't want the peace. No, this isn't peace. This is them splitting apart. Like, no. I don't know. I don't want them to be peaceful. I'm going back. I want to see when the Jedi split. I think you're getting that from Taika. I think Taika's movie, you guys, JD and AJ, I'll lean on you guys. What's the story of this one big contraption that is, it takes certain people and you have to meet the requirements of the Force, and if not, you get booted from it. It's like a big diamond-shaped thing.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what it's called.
Okay, that's what I think Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie is about. And that is the separation of Jedi based off of their beliefs of the code.
Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, so if they're doing that, they better do it right. That's all.
Taika's, to me, again, Ragnarok wasn't what I wanted it to be, but it was way better than the last two Thor movies. So
would that include would that also include then in that I guess in that world, if Taika does build it, the it's now I can't believe I can't remember it because it just came out just a few months ago. The where the Mando had to go with baby Grogu. That the temple.
The judging temple.
Yes,
What's the name of that planet though? I can't think of it.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I think it will be more like Exegol.
Oh,
Rise of Skywalker, because that's where the Sith are originally from. Is from Exegol.
I thought we were talking about the Jedi.
Yeah. Okay, and then
No, we're talking about Jedi. We're talking about Jedi.
Yeah, the Jedi part. So wasn't that the origin of where the Jedi where they were from? The people that were what were they called?
Mentioned in
Jedi or
Order too.
Yeah,
Jedi.
Oh, Jedi. I thought it was
Jedi. That was the planet in Rogue One that got destroyed by.
This isn't...
No. Okay, wait. We're looking for origins, right?
Hold on. One with the
okay, so they first started on Thython. Is that how you pronounce it? And then they went to hold on. And then they went to Ossus in the Outer Rim to get there.
But the first one you said was where Mando goes.
Say that again.
Isn't that's where Mando goes? Thython, I think it is, right? Isn't that where he goes with the Grogu?
That's where Ahsoka told him to go. Yes. Yeah. So I mean that's what I think Taika is doing, because when they showed the artwork for it, it looked like that huge diamond thing, but it was so blurry, like it wasn't supposed to be shown. Someone just kind of screen grabbed it from the footage out of it. So that might be you might be getting that, Ash, with Taika's movie.
Listen, if we get that, again, I'll be a happy woman. I won't complain that much. Yep.
And JD, I wanted to give you a shout out because Squadrons is the first Star Wars movie we get in 2023.
Nice.
So that will be the first Star Wars movie, and then everything else, Taika's, and then the one Feige's producing. So we'll get more going after that. But Squadrons is the first movie we get in 2020.
All right. Well, while you're on me, I got my pick. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So, I want to explore new territory, right? But I want to go to new territory based on a concept that we got from George. And it wasn't explored until my favorite movie, Rogue One. And that was the Force-sensitive people that protect the Kyber crystals, right? The Donnie Yen group, right? So if the Jedi is an allegory for a samurai, could those people be what's in place for like the Buddhist monks, you know? And can we explore a little bit of that and what their judging process is on letting people take the Kyber crystals out to turn them into lightsabers, and maybe that one traitor who got it out there to someone who wasn't worthy, and that's how, not that we got Sith, but we got those wonky people that used it, like in the Empire, for weapons of mass destruction.
I see what you're saying. I thought you were going the route. It's the one visual I've always wanted to see in Star Wars. I want to see someone bleed a goddamn crystal. I don't know why that's so difficult. Bleed it. I want to see someone bleed it. It's why I want a Kylo Ren prequel that showcases him being trained by Luke, and then the events of him becoming Kylo Ren, and then clearly you stop it well before Force Awakens, because clearly we gotten everything from that. But I want to see them bleed a crystal. But yeah, I would love that, JD, especially
the Force of Wills.
Yeah,
right?
especially if they have to go through trials to earn that crystal, and seeing some make it, some don't make it, and then you could go the route, JD, of some wanting to maybe take it instead of earn it, the way that they're supposed.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, we already got a slogan. I'm one with the Force is with me. You know, I mean, come on.
Yep. And that would be dope if that is something that was passed down, and it wasn't something that he just took on. It is a Kree that is passed down. I would love that. Yeah. All right, JD.
I want that. I want that now.
Yeah. Everybody change your answer. It's
Listen, you know I will absolutely end up changing my answer by the end of this. It always happens.
I'm the comic book writer. I'll fix my tie.
Right. Joe, I'm gonna go to you. What would you like to say?
I was leaning on one of the answers you had just said about Kylo, a prequel, and that getting not only, I want to know why he chose that type of lightsaber, why that lightsaber was that design, why. Yeah,
just really quickly, you know that's in the comics, though, right?
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, in the comics, it was unstable.
Yeah, no, I know it was unstable, but the design of it with the cross guard and stuff like that.
It was the only way. It was the only way for it to breathe out. So it needed to breathe. Okay. If it just came out this way, it would have exploded from the sides. AJ, correct me if I'm wrong. He needed it to ventilate the saber. Yeah. So it was purely.
I'm with you. But where did he get? Why is it unstable? What kyber is he using? Like, is that all mentioned in the comics?
Yeah, but look again. I still want to see it.
Yeah, I want to see a construction of a lightsaber. I would like to see an actual building of a lightsaber with the kyber, like you said. Have them choose the kyber, have them bleed it if they're a Sith. But I'm gonna go, and I know we were all just talking about how we want to venture off. It's a big universe. We want something new. But look, Vader is my favorite character, and I want, if they're not going to do a movie, but if they do a Disney Plus series with Vader, right after Revenge of the Sith, when he's just newly, learning the suit, also going out hunting remaining Jedi, I want to see a young, brutal Vader. Now, hear me out. I know everybody loves Rogue One. I did love Rogue One for what it was, and I also adore that ending scene. When I saw the movie in the theaters, and you saw, I knew it was coming. When you heard his breath, and when you saw the lightsaber ignite, and he just goes full brutal on them, cutting them in half, force choking, force pulling. He's doing everything that I want from Star Wars. But at the end of the movie, when I thought about it, and when I went home and I thought about it even more, and a lot of people, including me, first inclination was to turn on A New Hope. You go and you watch A New Hope and you're like, wait a minute, that's not the Vader we get a minute later.
Right. Yeah.
It's literally just a couple of minutes later, or whatever, 10 minutes later. Right. So I want it, just the continuity of it just didn't match.
I'm sorry, how is it not the Vader we got?
No, he just means as brute. Like,
it's not, we never,
more so you didn't really get to see
never see that ever again from him.
Okay.
You know? Okay. So I would love to scale back, get him fresh in the suit, young Anakin, and just do, young Vader, and just do his worst. And I would love to get just a series based on that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, from the Vader comic, the reason why that show or movie, whatever they decide to do, would work, right after he becomes Vader, Palpatine purposely tells no one who Vader is.
Of course.
So there's a part in the comics where he goes to this planet and stormtroopers are shooting at him because they think he's a Jedi because he has a lightsaber. So it's the idea that no one understands who Vader is at this point yet. So he's legit going around just murdering everybody.
Yep.
And it's the idea of he earns the fear of when he finally announces he's Vader. He's now instituted that fear in the galaxy of this guy that's already been just murdering everybody.
Yep.
And now you see him as Palpatine's right-hand man. He's Vader now. To me, yes, I'm with you. To see that, and I want to see him be lifted out of the tank where it's like the half body, no arms, no legs, and then they put him in the suit Like, I want to see that. I want to see him come out the, what is it, the Bacta tube?
Yeah, back to tank.
Back to tank.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to see him being picked up out of it, where you see him really hard to breathe, his eyes, because a lot of people don't know that his eyes were burned, so he can't see. It's why the visors are reflective. It helps him see.
Let me ask this question. All right. So we know we got Hayden in the Obi-Wan show coming, right? But we don't have James Earl Jones supplying the voice of Vader, and we already know that that series is after their fight.
Right.
So do you think we see Hayden, Robert Downey Jr. style, inside the mask, all burnt up, so we could get Hayden's voice?
No.
I would say no.
No?
I would say
I don't
no,
think
mainly
so.
because
I
in
love
the
that.
comics, because in the comics, remember when he put the mask on, there's tubes, and it's why his voice sounds so different. There's tubes in there that distort his voice. So it's like, if it sounds like Hayden, it's kind of just like, well, that's Anakin. Like, you
Right.
have to show
So
me
all
Vader.
we got to see is the mouth guard that was on Sebastian's show when they pulled the mask off of when Luke pulled the mask off of him, right?
Mhm.
But we get that as Hayden inside the mask.
I don't know, because remember, it's still so fresh. So the burns are fresh. The eyes are still trying to heal. The face is just really burned. I don't know. You know, I'll say this, JD. I won't say
Okay.
no. It's something I have to see how they do it. For me to say yes or no. Again, to me, James Earl Jones is always one of those things to where, like, it's assumed. So I kind of feel like maybe they didn't announce it because it's just assumed.
Yeah, but he's on his I hate to say it like this. He's on his last legs. Like
I don't
when
know.
he did
when he Rebels. He did all of Rebels.
But they also have how many hours of his voice recorded?
Right.
That
But
is
okay,
fair.
when they
That
did
is
Coming
fair.
to America 2,
Yeah.
right? They shot those scenes in James Earl Jones's bedrooms, in his
Oh,
own
that is
room,
true.
in his own house.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to travel out for that, bro.
Yeah.
He was
That
in his own bed shooting that
I
scene.
mean, I don't know. To me, I always thought when they said Hayden was coming back, it would be more so because he was serving a purpose of maybe flashbacks. So that's
Right.
why
Okay.
I also, yeah.
in my mind, Vader was always going to be still voiced by James, because clearly you weren't going to really ever have the mask off. So to me,
Okay.
I'm assuming, because remember, as Ash said, this is an Obi-Wan that now he's never been able to sit down and really live with everything that's happened. So
Okay.
now this is an Obi-Wan that's sitting there dealing with the death of Satine, dealing with his failure of Anakin, dealing with the failure of the war. So I'm like, it is possible he has some nightmares of flashbacks of him and Anakin.
Okay.
And
But
that's
you're
great.
missing, I think you're missing out on an opportunity if you don't show Hayden post scarred up, right? Like I said, the way you saw Sebastian saw when Luke took the mask off of him in Jedi, right? Or see Hayden in that prayer pod or whatever that oxygenated pod that you saw Vader in Empire, right? I mean, if we can see Hayden that without the mask and stuff like that, that would be great too. And to lose out on that, Hayden all made up, you're missing out on that opportunity. I think.
When
I guess I can see that because I'm thinking back to Rebels, right? When it's Vader versus Ahsoka, and he like gets a piece of his mask like sliced off and all of that. Like we do get to see Anakin a little bit of him.
Also, keep in mind that's a children's show, so they probably weren't likely going to scar his face.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm using that as an example to say that like we do have the option for it, even if they don't put us in the suit like how they would put us in the suit.
They want to do it.
They
right?
could do that though.
Like they could, they could absolutely do it
with the altercation between him and Obi-Wan. What if Obi-Wan bests him?
Exactly. That's
part
what
of the
thinking.
mask comes off.
Yeah.
And he gets to see the torture of what Anakin, what he's become underneath the suit. My question is, what is the timeline of the Obi-Wan series? Is it already known that Vader is Anakin at that point?
Yes.
From Obi-Wan?
Yes, because remember, this is if he's guarding Luke at this point, this show should take place where Luke is maybe about 10 or 11.
Okay.
9, 10, 11, around there. So these are years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. So it should be at this point known that he is Vader.
Okay.
So it should be, but again,
Is it though? Because that's
what I'm saying. We don't know. We don't know.
Right, for dramatic effect.
That would be
realizing
cool to be the intro.
Yeah. Holy shit, you're Anakin?
That would be a cool. That would be.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's why it stuck out in Rebels.
Yeah.
Where Ahsoka,
I
she
was just
felt
literally
it.
about to say
Never-
that as well.
Yeah, she never really could put her finger on it, and when she sees it, it's just a heartbreak of like,
Yeah.
what have you become? Like, what have you honestly become? Because Obi-Wan, for all intents and purposes, did believe he killed
Yeah, left
Anakin
him for
and
dead.
Lucifer. Yeah.
Right.
He
Right.
really did.
Oh man, exploring that PTSD of
Yeah,
I killed my
Obi-Wan
little
would just
brother.
go- Obi-Wan would go, am I just destined to have like the suckiest life ever? Like, this is like the worst life for a person to have. AJ, did you give yours yet? It was the twins, right? It was the twins, right? For what you want to see that hasn't been announced.
Mine was going to be the Vader one too.
Got you.
Him fighting his first Jedi and killing him, and then bleeding his crystal.
Yes.
And Fluff.
Yeah.
That's right, because at the end of Revenge of the Sith, he doesn't have his red saber yet.
No, so
No, he has to
Right.
bleed it to get it. He
Right,
only
that's
uses
right.
the regular lightsaber.
Yeah,
so after Revenge of the Sith,
yeah.
Palpatine ordered him to go kill his first Jedi, which Enfla, and it was a tough battle for Vader. So I like how
Very tough.
I like how that Enfla was almost able to kill Vader within that series, which was really cool because Vader is still starting out as
Vader.
with his
And he's getting
body.
used to the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because remember, it technically has no arms or legs.
Right. Yeah.
You're getting used to using pretty much prosthetics a little bit.
So that was his toughest battle with Enfla, and I love the way how they used him, and that was his crystal that he chose to bleed, and he wanted to bleed that one, and the way they bled it is he had to go to a temple, and the way he did it was he used the force on the crystal, and he had visions of him and Obi-Wan coming back together, and he had to like destroy all of that, and it was a powerful moment.
That would be great to see.
I had always said, it's not practical. It's not like it would have maybe hit as hard as I'm thinking in my mind, but I had always imagined if Kylo's saber had turned red when he killed Han, to where it's really him converting over to the dark side. Instead of your traditional having to bleed the crystal, where the crystal kind of evolves itself into like this Sith crystal that now gives you the red lightsaber. That would have been an iconic moment because that was his transition. He, in the comics, obviously he had it because a lot of people think he created the Knights of Ren. He did not. He inherited it once he killed the original leader of the Knights of Ren. So that wasn't even really his team. He just killed the team and then brought in his boys. Like, yeah, we're gonna steal this. Don't nobody know who these people are. So to me, that would have been the really iconic moment. But
I got a quick question about the suit, because we were talking about Vader's suit and how the Emperor made it purposely to basically limit him. I saw, and I didn't get a chance to watch it, unfortunately, but there was a YouTuber that had posted about something that George Lucas has recently said.
I think you're talking Star Wars Theory. Is it?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I didn't want to name drop, but yeah, Star Wars Theory basically said that Lucas had come out and said that Vader could have survived without the suit.
Yeah.
So
he would have been a pile of nothing, I think was his exact words.
Yes.
Outside
Okay.
of the suit.
So he would have survived without the suit, but he would have just been nothing.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know where that story was going. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
No, he was getting to the point of, because a lot of people were saying, like, why couldn't you have just recreated parts for him and he just still been that burning corpse? And it's like, well, he couldn't access the Force. It's why the suit was necessary, because it helped him access the Force.
Gotcha.
As AJ said, it helped him become even stronger in the Force because of that suit.
See, it would have been possible. It would have been possible for him to replace limbs, because at the point they were that advanced, but he chose not to do all that. He chose to keep the suit and all that.
Yeah, and Palpatine was just like, "Hey, make sure you guys got that electricity part still going. I gotta."
And going back to what AJ said earlier too, and I agree. As strong as Anakin was, Vader had the edge because of the rage that he had inside him. It did. I think Vader probably. I know Anakin is stronger, but Vader had the rage. I think.
I agree, but I think we keep forgetting how angry Anakin was.
He was.
in Mustafar.
Yeah, but that was
only
amplified.
amplified.
That anger and how angry Anakin was amplified even more because of the suit.
I don't disagree. To me, it's just I don't know.
And the loss of Padme, because at that point Padme's dead.
Look,
He thinks he killed
comics, her. He does have that. He does have visions, and he meditates on all of that. So all of that anger, he just focuses a lot more within the suit and all of that.
I will say one thing I do want that is, obviously isn't confirmed and never will be, to start off a movie with Vader going to the Wookiee planet to kill the Wookiee.
Kashyyyk.
Yes. On that planet is a Master Jedi who has a son named Galen Malik. Who turns out to be Star Killer. Because anyone who's played the first Force Unleashed, to see that on a big screen,
that was so cool.
Take my money. Take all of my money. Every last dollar and cent. The visual of how you get to force push, force choke. You can throw Vader's lightsaber like a boomerang.
Yep.
And then him anointing his own apprentice. I love it, and I was watching Ash Revenge of the Sith again. A line that I never really paid attention to that stuck out to me now is when Palpatine tells Yoda, "My apprentice is stronger than we could ever be." And it speaks to why Palpatine was just like, I do need a safeguard in case this motherfucker wants to kill me one day. Like, I do need a way to reel him back in.
I mean, Palpatine was already planning to have him be Vader. And I mean, he told him how Plagueis died, right? Like, Palpatine killed him. So, like, he already knew before then. I definitely think before Vader even, like, got into the suit, that if things were to go the way that they were going to go with the war, he would have a failsafe, regardless for Anakin, if he was in a suit or not. That's something I always believed.
Yeah, I am curious what Palpatine's plan B was if Anakin knew.
Well, that wasn't Mara. Mara Jade wasn't his plan B later on.
Mara Jade came later, so I don't, because that was when Luke was a grown man. Was
right. So, like, if the Jedi is the samurai, right? Mara would be the ninja in the whole iconography of it all. So, did they ever explain who the pre-Mara Jade was?
No, I honestly think he literally took all his chips and pushed it all to the middle of the table on Anakin. Because if that didn't work out, I think he would have just went back to the shadows and just,
Well, then he tried making Luke the replacement for Vader.
Right. Because the thing with Palpatine is he wants people that are uber strong, but not necessarily stronger than him. So it's like that's
smarter than him,
right? Or smarter than him.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Machiavellian.
Right. There's only two of them that have existed in Palpatine's time, and it's legit Luke and Anakin. Luckily for Luke, he was stronger willed than his father was. But Trayvon, what's one thing you would like to see playing out that hasn't been announced?
Sabine live action.
Yes.
Sabine live action. That's it. I just want to see her live action.
She might be in the Ahsoka series as well.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Listen, if she is, beautiful.
I'd like to see Trayvon. I'd like to see the story start off with her being young, and it's in the midst of the last war for not the last, but the big war of Mandalore, because there's been like 90. So like the last one you saw in season 7. Where it's the war for Mandalore. We assume Sabine was probably what, AJ, like 5 maybe during the events of that. The last war of Mandalore with Maul.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Who's Sabine? Is that Starbuck's sister in the show?
Yes, that's that's the cheaper. That's the cheaper version. No, Sabine is she's
Mandalorian.
Yes, Mandalorian. She's
Starbuck
like,
wasn't a Mandalorian.
Creative Mandalorian.
She's a Mandalorian.
She's
right?
a creative Mandalorian.
anyway, Trayvon, that was a really awesome pick. I would like to see her growing up in a world that Mandalore is not what it once was, or what she probably grew up with until that point where Maul just kind of comes back and is just like, yeah, I want it again. Like, I want Mandalore again. You know, I had it once. Try again.
Where does Rebels fall with the Mandalorian timeline? Like, where does
Smack dab in the middle of it. That's why Ahsoka's the age that she is. It's right in the middle of it. Clearly, it's after. No, I'm sorry. I just lied. It's after Rebels because Kanan is still dead.
Because she wants the sword.
Does Sabine want the sword? No, she gave it to Bo. She gave it to Bo.
Who's Kanan? Is that Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
No, Trayvon, remember, she gave it to Bo. And that's why Bo took it so personally that she lost it to
she just can't win it. Bo-Katan she out of luck.
Bo-Katan always comes up short, man. Bo-Katan came up short when Vizsla had it and then lost it. Then she came up short when Maul had it and then he lost it. It just keeps skipping in her hands. So, and the moment she has it, lost it.
Is she a bad guy or is she a non-factor? Yeah.
Bo-Katan's very much like your anti-hero. Like, she very much serves her. She's kind of like
she's as important as Ahsoka. I would say that.
Really?
Yeah.
Especially
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So who's the one with the pink helmet with Freddie Prinze Jr.?
That's Sabine.
The most creative Mandalorian. There we go.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she does love her graffiti. She tags a lot. It's why her armor is drastically different than everybody's. Yes. She is a really cool character though, Trayvon.
Yeah.
I do like that pick a lot.
Okay.
I would like to see what's her name from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. play Sabine. I think she'd be a dope Sabine.
Quake.
Yeah, I think Quake would be a dope.
Oh, Chloe.
Chloe Bennett. Yeah, I think
Chloe
you cut her hair short. She could rock the bob. She'd be an awesome Sabine for sure. And we know the acting chops are there, so we don't have to.
That's true.
Whatever.
Well, hopefully, Powerpuff Girls dies quickly.
I'm actually very interested in that because I want to see how they're gonna do it. I want to see how they're gonna do it. I really want to.
I'm sorry. I stopped caring about the Powerpuff Girls when they told me boys are made out of a prison toilet. That's when I said no. You can take this.
That's what got you to stop.
That's what got me. Because I'm like, all right. First of all, they said, obviously the polar opposite of sugar, spice, and everything nice, right? So I'm like, okay. So when Mojo Jojo's like, I'll make my own Powerpuff Girls. I'm like, yeah, I'm really curious. How's he gonna do this? When he went into the toilet and started mixing chemicals, I said, oh hell no. We're not gonna do boys like that.
I would rather it be on HBO Max, but I'd rather the budget be higher. That's the only thing I'm really worried about is the budget.
I'm sorry. I don't need to see them beating up a monkey. They dog.
It doesn't need to be live action. It doesn't need to be live action.
I agree.
Everything's gonna be live action now. I'm waiting for
some live action. It should be Dexter's Laboratory. That's what should be live action.
None of the cartoon series.
Okay, here's the thing. We don't need to make a live action of everything, and we don't need to remake every damn thing. Why can't we just let the classics be the classics? And if you're going to remake them, don't put them on the CW.
I won't disagree with that. I won't disagree with
that. If it's funded by HBO Max and the CW, I'm fine with it. If it's just CW, I have a problem because I'm worried about them flying.
That's fine because Stargirl was good. Stargirl was funded by HBO Max and it was really good. AJ, you just don't like it because you think it has something to do with the CW.
Superman and Lois is funded by HBO Max.
And that looks beautiful. That's really good by the way. But anyway, to bring it back into Star Wars tonight, we are ending our night on the Bad Batch. That's how we're gonna leave this. I love this first episode. My standout character is Omega. I love the way she says her name. I get so giddy every time she does it. I just loved it every time she would pop up and she would go, "Hey guys, it's me." And they're like, "No, we know." And she's like, "No, me, Omega." And it's like, "No, we get it." I love how
it's on Disney Plus already.
Yeah, it's the first episode. Yeah, it's 70 minutes also, JD.
I'll catch it tonight. Okay.
It's just really good. I will say the one thing that I was really hoping. Did anybody else hear that little boy as a Jedi and swear that was Kanan? Didn't
It
he
is.
sound just like Kanan?
It is.
It's not Kanan though.
You sure that's not? Yeah, it
it's
is.
not Kanan.
It is Kanan.
You sure?
Yeah, because Kanan's name before he was Kanan was Caleb.
It's Caleb Doom.
Caleb Doom.
Oh, so that is Kanan.
That is Kanan.
Sounds like Freddie Prinze.
You don't remember him?
Yeah.
He had
It
to
is-
change his name to go on.
It is Kanan because they also like did a lot of like side by sides like with the comics and the thing because the only thing that's different is that I believe from Rebels and a little bit of the comics he said that like he didn't know what happened to I can't remember what's his master's name.
Well, in the
But-
comics,
Sandala? It was something
in the
Sandala,
comics, he
I
does.
Yeah. But it is Kanan in Bad Batch.
Oh, then I freaking love that. So then, Ash, I'll go to you first. What were your thoughts on this first episode of the Bad Batch?
Oh my God. I loved it. If you know me, you know I love the clones so much. Clone Wars has a very special place in my heart. And when I tell you I was tense all throughout this episode, but in a good way. Like I love the storytelling of it. I love the plot. I love the characters. Like there were so many times where I was just like, oh my goodness, don't let this happen because we know what's gonna happen. I loved seeing the way that they actually not just brought in Clone Wars, but they actually brought in like Revenge of the Sith as well. And like some of the scenes that are from there. I love like he just hurt me. Crosshair just like hurt me. Like I knew it was gonna happen and all of that, but like I love. Oh yeah,
Should
I'm
I
not
set
gonna.
out for the spoilers right now?
No,
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
spoiling.
yes,
I'm not
JD.
spoiling. I swear to God, I'm not spoiling. I just
Just in
loved
case
him.
somebody does, though, JD. Just be
And he
careful.
was painful. And so I loved all of it. I loved the way that they hinted towards the previous shows. I'm excited for where they're going to take us with the Bad Batch. My favorite character, I really can't choose. But I'm gonna go with Wrecker for right now. Like ask me a couple weeks later, I'm probably gonna go with somebody else. But for now, Wrecker is my favorite. I love him with all of my heart. And
I do love how much Wrecker is a big baby. I really do love that. I do love the baby complex that he has. For all the strength that he has, he's very much a big baby. So I do love that. JD, I will say you do get a moment in here where Tarkin is making budget cuts. It's like
that's the
Okay.
Tarkin is just like, yeah, I cannot afford this shit. Like,
So this is before the last episode of the Clone Wars.
No, this is after the last episode of the Clone Wars.
Okay.
I would say this
So all
even
those
this takes
little droids-
place. No,
Go ahead, Ash.
I was gonna say that I actually think this takes place during the last episode of the
That's
Clone
fair.
Wars.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because that's the last episode is when they actually execute the order,
Yeah.
and he's executing the order right now. So it takes place during
Okay.
that final season.
By the
So
way,
the droids that died in the last episode, I'll get to see them, like the fake R2 and stuff like that, right?
well, you don't see it. You don't see it in this really. You might see it
Okay.
maybe down the road because it's still weaving in the new era. But
Gotcha.
I do think that's the greatest line in Star Wars history. Execute Order 66. The way he says it gets me every goddamn time. I
Yep.
love it.
Every
And
time.
it's so sad because it's like it's a slaughter of all Jedi. But
Yep.
I love it every time I hear it. I'm just like, say it. Like, do it right now. Like, say
Like
it.
even like the first, like when I heard it, when Bad Batch started, and I heard it, I was like, "Oh shit, it's going down!" And then it went down, and I said, "F you, Palpatine."
I
What is-
love it. I will say, JD. And again, it's not a spoiler. It's something that when you watch a trailer, you get the gist of. But I love when it's announced and the other clone troopers are executing it, and the Bad Batch is just like, I don't know what's going on. What is that?
I get the memo.
Yeah, like you see the other clones just like kill all Jedi, and they're just like, Why?
Like, you guys were at the party. You invite me to the party.
We have no idea. But it's funny you say that, JD, because they do play on that a lot of the first few minutes of it, so where it's just like,
nice.
I don't know what's going on, and it makes it even funnier when you see how it plays out with them interacting with certain characters of the first 5 minutes of that episode. Like, they're just so in shock. They're just like, I don't know what's happening.
As soon as we sign off, I'll start it.
Joe, I'm gonna kick it over to you, man. Did you enjoy this first episode?
I did. I really didn't know much what to expect because I really haven't seen much of the Clone Wars, and as I said, I only really watched a few, maybe a season or two of Rebels. But I wanted to catch up when Ahsoka was introduced to the Mandalorian, and I wanted to catch up on on who Bo-Katan was, Sabine. So I did catch up somewhat. But as far as the Bad Batch goes, I really didn't know what to expect. I did watch some of the trailers before it came out. For a first episode, it wasn't bad. It was, for me, it was a little long for a cartoon. But at the same time, I get it. It's the introduction of it. I don't mind anything supersized or extra long as far as Star Wars goes. But, I'm probably going to, I'm definitely going to watch it because it is Star Wars, but I don't know if I'm invested in it yet. A lot of the characters are pretty cool. I'm a little older, so watching this, like Hunter, I see Rambo. For me, that's Hunter reminds me of Rambo.
Yep.
I think his name is, it's Echo that looks like Lobot. Is Echo the one that?
Oh, yep, okay. That's Echo.
Mm-hmm. So I got Lobot with Echo, and then of what's his face? Not what's his face. Omega. Omega. I actually see Childlike Empress in Neverending Story.
Yep,
that's
exactly.
Who I thought of when I see her character. So, again, it's only the first episode. So, the next episode I think is Friday, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll know more about it once I get a few episodes in. But yeah, for a first episode, it wasn't bad. It was pretty good.
Yeah, and I will say, fun fact: George Lucas actually wrote up the treatment for Bad Batch back in 2012.
Okay.
But that was when he then sold it. And then Disney obviously canceled Clone Wars to make Rebels.
Gotcha.
So this concept Lucas has had for forever of wanting to do the Bad Batch, these clones that are drastically different than the other clone troopers. So this is a treatment he's been wanting to do for a while. So it's really cool to see it come.
Now, is there an explanation why they were altered like that?
There is, yes. And I'm gonna butcher it, but it was the way they were developed. It was supposed to be developed differently, trying to enhance the clones, and it had like a drastic effect in the opposite direction. But it did.
They screwed up.
Well, hence the name Bad Batch. It was a bad batch of clones.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's what I took from it. But at the same time, I didn't know what they were trying to, with just the 5, what they were trying to accomplish is what I was trying.
It was essentially like, and when you watch, if you ever watch season 7 of Clone Wars, because they're in the first episode of that, it's where they're introduced. It's that they're a secret hit squad that not even Captain Rex, who was one of the highest ranks during the Clone Wars, knew about. He had no idea who they were. Commander Cody did, but Captain Rex had no idea who the Bad Batch was. So it was a group of clones essentially that I assume Palpatine would send out, where it's just like, hey, I need to kill some people, so I'm gonna go ahead and send the Bad Batch. And that's essentially what their job was. It's why you get remember at the beginning of this episode, and this is not a spoiler, JD, where it's like, where's the army? And it's like, we don't have an army. So it's kind of
where's the reinforcements?
Right.
They're not coming.
They're not coming, but trust me, you don't need it. AJ, what were your thoughts on this first episode of Bad Batch?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought the chemistry between all the characters were great. I thought it was actually better than season 7 of Clone Wars. To me, they came off a little bit annoying in Clone Wars, but within Bad Batch, I actually enjoyed them a lot more. My favorite is Hunter, obviously. But yeah, there's a lot to come from. We get Caleb in this, or Kanan, however y'all want to say it.
Right.
And then we get his master. We get Belaba. I think that's
Yes, that's the name.
Yeah, I just love how they executed Order 66 as the first scene of this show, and I just really loved it. And the credit title, I loved how it burned from Clone Wars and Bad Batch. I thought that was badass,
That was
and
cool.
I like the score. The score is always amazing within Clone Wars.
Yep.
And I can't remember the guy's name, but the one that always does the voiceover, who never gets him that much
Bradley
love.
Baker.
Yes.
Bradley Baker. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I love so much, and he doesn't get enough love, so I had to give him a shout out right there.
By the way, you think sometimes like that is like a warming up thing. When we did our press junket for Bad Batch, he started just talking as different members of the Bad Batch, and it's just like, you could do that shit on command? Like what? What? Like we were just like, oh my god, this is insane. But yeah, D. Bradley Baker, for some that might not know, is the voice for all the clones you've ever heard in Clone Wars, the animated series. He's also voices Klaus, the fish in American Dad. D. Bradley Baker has probably voiced a lot of characters that you're just like, how did he do that? But yeah, every clone you've ever heard, it's been D. Bradley Baker. The guy who actually wrote this season said it was the weirdest thing to go watch him, because he would do it in one take. He would have a conversation with himself in one take instead of doing one line for Hunter, then stopping, and another line as Wrecker. He would just do it all in one take, and he was like, it was the weirdest thing watching him essentially just talk to himself.
That's what Mel Blanc used to be able to do when he would do the Warner Brothers stuff.
Really?
Multiple characters. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a talent. That's such a talent. Because when you hear them, JD, they all sound drastically different. Like they don't all sound somewhat alike. They sound so different. And so to be able to do that in one take is crazy.
If you get a chance, Rob Paulson used to have a podcast with a lot of voice actors called Talking Tunes. The series is dead right now. Hopefully it's still on iTunes. But D. Bradley Baker showed up there maybe 4 or 5 different times over the course of the series. And you got to hear him do the voices, and you got to hear them, talk about the business and stuff like that. And Clone Wars at the time was still big, and almost everybody was getting paid from Clone Wars. So they were all cool with each other, dude.
Yeah, no, that is so freaking awesome. I'm gonna make sure I check that out. I'm gonna text you after the show.
All right, cool.
Trayvon, how did you enjoy this first episode of Bad Batch? And tell me why Omega is your favorite character.
I didn't see it yet. I didn't see it yet.
Oh,
see,
you
I'm not
didn't see
the
it
only
yet.
one.
Oh, you didn't see it yet. Oh, I thought you caught Bad Batch. Okay.
No. I'm just listening. It makes me interested now. It's very. I was interested already, but now I'm even more.
Listen, you are going to enjoy it. It is.
I'm trying to get through Clone Wars first before I do it.
Well, I will say this. There's elements that might pop up in Bad Batch through the course of the season that it might be good to have the knowledge of Clone Wars in your head. But for the more immediate, you can get away with just starting Bad Batch from this first episode. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I'll look for some like a central episodes thing, and then I'll come back. Maybe I'll try that.
Well, what I'll do is as we go through each episode of the series, if there's like a moment that I'm like, oh damn, you needed to see this in Clone Wars to get it, I'll just refer back to you.
Yeah, there's also
check out.
There's also just a list of like bad like episodes from Clone Wars that are specifically related to the Bad Batch that was like focusing on those specific characters that you can just watch. So like you can just like go literally watch those central episodes, and it's like what, 5 or 6 of them. It's not that much that you can watch and like be able to like get away with like Bad Batch. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, all right, guys, this is it for our first annual May the Pod Be With You. We will be doing it again next year. I'm glad we can get this collective of Star Wars fans together to talk Star Wars on May 4th. Please make sure you guys check out Figure It Out. We'll be recording it tomorrow. We're going to talk some Invincible, baby. We got some Invincible to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Can't wait.
I'm afraid to have I was afraid to talk to my dad after watching Invincible. Like I don't know if maybe that was in all dads, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta take a break. But we're gonna get into Invincible and all that fell out from that. And also, we will be coming back together to break down episode 2 of The Bad Batch, probably Saturday, because Friday we have GVN talk. So we'll figure that all out and let you guys know. I want to thank Ash, AJ, Trayvon, JD, KJ, and Patches, and Joe. I want to thank Joe for joining us. You got to join more podcasts, Joe. We got to have you on some more podcasts.
I'm open to it. Trust me. It's always a good time coming on here. I enjoy it.
That.
Nice.
Pete's going to be like, don't be stealing my people, Joe.
I know you got two of Pete's boys here.
Right. It seems like a takeover, and I swear it's
Watch out, Pete.
But no, much love to Pete. So make sure you guys stay tuned for all that. AJ, what podcast did you do today?
Suit Up Geeks.
Suit Up Geeks. Plug that real quick, AJ.
Yeah, so basically we talk about everything Geek Vibes Nation does. We do Marvel every Friday. Star Wars every Friday starting next week or starting this Friday, and just everything. We're starting to do like a news type of thing over there as well, and y'all can just follow them at Suit Up Geeks on Twitter, or just follow me because I'm awesome at AJ _
Jawan, don't even start. Let him have it.
I'll let him have that.
You know what, Ash? That was more of a dig than anything.
That was Ash going, no, I agree. He's not awesome, but just let him have it.
No. Because I saw him ready to make a slick comment, and I'm like, no, you are awesome. Like, let him have his moment.
Oh, we all know AJ's not. Anyway, Joe, you do have a new episode up. You guys are talking Mighty Ducks, right?
So we do Mighty Ducks every Sunday because the episode drops on Fridays. We've been doing the Mighty Ducks. We were doing it actually right after Falcon and Winter Soldier, but now that that's over, we're doing Mighty Ducks on Sunday. We did a Godzilla versus Kong movie review. I know it's late, but we finally got one spoiler review out. And now next Sunday, right after our Game Changers Mighty Ducks, we're going to be doing Mortal Kombat. Small little YouTube channel, Just Your Average Joe. Could use the support, guys. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate coming on, and thank you.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys follow. I follow, so you need to follow. You do what I do. So if I follow, you follow. Go follow, like, comment on everything. You can comment how awesome Jawan is, how much better he is than AJ. You can just go ahead and flood it. Go ahead. But also make sure you guys are going to www.unstoppablecomics.com, right?
Yeah. That's it. You can find all the books that I write on unstoppablecomics.com, Unstoppable Comics on Facebook, Unstoppable Comics on Instagram. And I may not be awesome, but you can find JAYD Unstoppable, which is me on Instagram.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys run that up. And if you're curious about what Unstoppable Comics is, you can see the posters right behind Jay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's some of the books.
Right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys run that up. And Trayvon, your channel, Nerd with the Tech, you have a brand new, beautiful logo.
Yes, I
did see that you broke down the newest episode of Invincible.
Yes, I did. That show is wow. That's all I got right there. I don't know. I plan on doing like a recap of the whole season. I kind of want to watch it all at once and then do like a review of the whole thing. I've been reacting to each episode and give my little review of it at the end of each one. But yeah, I am gaining confidence by being on these things to finally do my own podcast where I talk about news and stuff like that. So that's why my new icon is, I started putting it everywhere. So now it's like a little tease, like I'm coming. It's about to be something new on this channel, not just reactions. So yeah, so that's what I'm planning on doing next. And hope I sound good. Got a new mic, so we're gonna see. Trying this out. We're gonna do it.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys check it out. And Trayvon, be careful with your rewatch. I did it yesterday and immediately called my therapist. That show. All right.
Or Mark.
All right. Yeah. Talk about therapy. He needs it. But thank everybody for joining us for our May 4th celebration. May the pod be with you. This will be an annual show we do every May 4th.
Awesomeness.
So
And next year I'll be more knowledgeable.
I'll tell you what, if by next year you have not consumed all of Clone Wars, there will be some words exchanged, Trayvon. You and Chicago. Watch your Clone Wars.
You mean
See, you talking about Clone Wars.
this,
Listen,
right?
you got to go all the way back to THX 1138. That's where your knowledge
You
begins.
love
ladies
that
and gentlemen.
THX 1138.
I don't know what that is.
Love it.
But
You don't know what
Same thing,
THX
Trayvon.
1138
I do
is?
not.
Oh,
I am
all right.
Googling.
So if you look at the Stormtrooper's backpack,
Trayvon,
right,
knew me both.
it's a negative space image of the numbers 1138. And when George Lucas was in college, his college thesis movie was THX 1138. When Francis Ford Coppola started his production company called American Zoetrope, the first movie he released was an expanded version of THX 1138 from George Lucas, a full movie. So if you check that out, a lot of elements that went on to be used in future Star Wars movies came out of THX 1138. The sound effects, a lot of the
Visuals.
yes, pop from there, and of course the name THX that became George Lucas's sound, and you can find 1138 popped up in a lot of different places. You know how A113 is like the Pixar thing, and you find it hidden in all the places. Same thing with THX with 1138. 1138 pops up on Stormtroopers' backpacks. It popped up on the robot things from the prequels and all that.
All right. So yeah, Trayvon, you got homework. Get it done. You got it here.
What was Leia's was Leia's prison cell 1138 or no?
Yes.
Yeah. No.
What was it?
She wasn't cell block. What was it?
No. Oh my God. Juwan, look it up. It was in our group because her cell number was also the name of Baron Zemo's cell number in Falcon and Winter
Yes.
Soldier.
Oh, okay.
You're right.
Oh my God. It wasn't 1138.
This says
No, it wasn't.
187.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go. So yeah, that was also Zemo's cell.
Which was Finn's number, right?
Finn's number. Yeah.
That's right. That was Finn's number. Look at that.
Yep. Look at that. Look at Abrams doing things that are actually canon. All right. All right, guys. We're getting out of here. You guys have a great night. May the force be with you always. Till next time,
with you.
guys. Peace.
Good night, guys.
Also with you.